Because they live with me.
live with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've never done it. You know, like firefighters don't let the
You
kids
just
do it.
videoed them
Well,
doing it.
you do an important job as well.
Thanks.
You start the fires for them to put out.
Yeah.
Without you,
I'm a job creator,
Practice.
goddammit.
these firemen would be out of a gig.
Yeah. Public
there-
servants, my tax dollars and my fucking fire fingers, they keep you in the work. You're welcome.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now, broadcasting from the churn, that's Jim, that's Whitney, I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month.
What?
Ba, 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 ba.
How come no one told me?
Exciting. Man, there is so much going on, and we have been off to a huge start. And just in 1 week's time with this new special event of this month where we do a lot of fundraising, we do a lot of awareness spreading, we do a lot more content, we have been getting so much love from our Patreon community, which we're going to be talking more about at the end of the show, thanking new people who have signed up, tons of people increasing their membership, and just making sure that we know we are appreciated and that this work is supported. And so we have some really exciting announcements that we are doing for Mental Health Awareness Month. Some really, really fun stuff. So,
do you want to let Nick announce them?
Yeah, Nick, why don't you tell everybody all about it?
Everyone gets a puppy.
There it is. There it is.
Yes.
How can you have bad mental health with a puppy?
We have
can't.
partnered with an underground
You have to
network
take it
of
on a
puppy
walk.
mills.
Yes.
They will be supplying lots of dogs. So, no, we are starting a new campaign. We are calling it...
Let me just make that clear. No one's getting a puppy.
Nobody's getting... Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Fine print. No
Unless
puppies.
you're getting a puppy, in which case you're getting a puppy.
Yeah,
Good for you.
except for those of you who are getting a puppy that is not affiliated with us. So we are launching our Mental Health Month campaign. We're calling it Pony Up for Mental Health.
Aw.
Let me tell you the deets. So as many of you
pony in
know,
here.
we have an intern, Emma, who's a therapist in Illinois. She's in a doctoral program, and she has pledged her undying support to our podcast to satisfy what is required for school, and also because she believes in these projects. Well, it turns out Emma has a horse, Tonka Truck the Pony, who has already been anointed as the official Pod Therapy pony, has a banner and everything on the barn. It's really, really cool. Well, Emma has adopted a new horse, and this horse does not have a name.
Aw, nameless.
Yet. And this enters Pony Up for Mental Health because we have talked Emma into allowing our Patreon community to nominate and vote for names of the horse, and she has agreed that whatever is chosen, that's the fucking name of the horse.
Oh my
no
God.
strings attached, no lines,
Wow.
no boundaries. She just wrote a blank fucking check
Oh my
and said,
gosh,
I am supporting the
brave.
show. People can name the horse.
Has
my
anybody
God.
Hitler? Timothy Hitler.
It's on the table. It's on the table. So here's how this works.
I was going to say Polly Mustang would be perfect.
Honestly, a solid
Oh,
name.
yeah.
So in May, if you sign up or are an existing producer or partner of the show, so at the producer or partner level, you get to submit nominations for this horse. Everybody gets one. Partners get pretty much as many as they want, probably 5. I don't know. But keep sending in those nominations
Seems like
if
a
you are
detail
a
you should
partner
figure
or
out
a
before.
producer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to gather
Why?
those names. Now, hosts cannot submit names,
Damn
but we
it.
can lobby for names.
I already
Timothy
submitted.
Hitler.
Okay, we can absolutely throw our political support. Timothy Hitler's a solid
Dr.
choice.
Jim Hitler
I think-
joke.
Yeah.
Oh no! I did not think of how this could come
Jim
back
Hitler
on me.
Jobin is perfect.
Jim Hitler Jobin.
Fuck! I did not think of how this could be my problem. I really just thought it was going to be this
Oh,
fun
this
name
is
horse.
great.
Yeah.
I thought Horsey McHorseface
You're
was going to
lucky-
make an
No,
appearance.
then you're an
lucky host.
idiot. Do you not remember bumper sticker madness?
But that was
Like
my
those-
fault. I did that.
Yeah, so is this.
You also did this.
You're lucky we can't nominate.
We are accepting nominations from all of our therapy producers and
Jim, my
partners
Fuhrer Jobin.
in the month of May. And at the end of the month, we're going to put out a poll through our Patreon. Everybody who is attached to our Patreon is going to get to vote in the poll, and it's winner take all. So whatever name gets the most votes at the end of the month, that's it. That's the one. Emma's going to put
I
that
can't wait to
on
vote.
the
Great.
documentation. That is the legal name. of the new horse.
You said we can vote for one that's already nominated, right?
We can put our political support behind it,
Oh,
yes.
okay. But we don't get
if
a
you're
tallied
attached to the
vote.
Patreon, you
I guess we can
cast
take out a
vote.
Patreon account.
You can put a buck in the hat.
For $20? Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
only one part of what's going on for the Pony Up for Mental Health campaign. The second, there we go. We needed that drop. The second big thing that we're doing this month. So as you all know, Emma goes to her farm to find her ponies, and she gives them treats.
Aw.
And for a long time, people have said, "Oh, I wish that I could sponsor treats for the ponies." Emma has decided to also do that for us. So now at patreon.com/therapy/store, we now have an option where you can buy a dedication treat for either of Emma's ponies. And so whenever you check out at the store, it's $15. You can tell Emma what you want her to say to the pony whenever she dedicates the treat. You can pick the snack. So there's a list of the pony's favorite treats, including watermelon licorice and mushrooms and peeps, apparently. The ponies like that. Yep. So she's listed all their favorite snacks. There's also healthy things. If you want the pony to have apples.
Mushrooms or marshmallows?
You know what? It's whatever she's got on hand.
Okay.
I don't know where she's going with this. The pony's going to be happy.
Because I know some
Either way.
animals really like marshmallows.
Some of them like
Apparently
shrooms.
bears really do. People who train
Alligators.
bears.
Oh, they toss them.
Oh, that's right.
Alligators.
Alligators do too. That's true.
Clarifying question.
Yes.
I don't even want to bring this up, but is this already in the store, or is this something that after recording today, you're going to say, hey,
It's
Nick,
all
we
live.
got to go do this?
It's all live. I already
Okay.
did everything.
Okay.
Read your emails.
Wow.
Yeah.
Read your
Everything's
emails.
programmed.
I will.
Everything's
He's
set.
like, I will not read the
I will
emails.
not read that. I got
Also, the
answer.
link is in the episode description. So if you don't want to type in patreon.com/therapy/store, just go into the episode description.
I saw
There's
that in
already going to be a
last
link. It'll be
week's,
yeah. That's because I uploaded it previously.
Oh,
You'll
okay.
see.
I was like, I
But
saw
yep.
it in
So
there.
go into the episode description. You can find
You
that.
look at this show.
Or just go to
Somebody asked me
patreon.com/therapy.
to
It's
look for
right
an
there
episode,
too.
I
You can
saw.
scroll down. It's featured as an item in the store. So check
Normally,
out. So
no.
do that as many times as you want. And then here's the fun part. When Emma goes to the farm, she's going to feed the horse, tell the horse, hey, this treat's from Whitney. She says, I love you from Las Vegas. And then give the horse the treat that you ordered. She's going to video that.
Oh my
And then she's going to post it to our Instagram. So if you follow our Instagram
And you can have her say
@PodTherapyGuys,
anything?
Yep. Well, yep. Fuck it. Let's raise
All
money.
right.
Whatever you write in the dedication, I'm pretty sure she will read. I think it's like a Ron Burgundy thing. So she's going to be posting
I'm
that
Ron
to our
Burgundy.
Instagram all month long. So even if you do not want to feed the pony, make sure you're subscribed to our Instagram page @PodTherapyGuys. We're going to be having tons of pony videos where you're going to see her ponies getting fed, getting dedications, getting their favorite snacks, and our audience is going to be behind that. And then you'll also get a good look at the nameless pony so that you can submit your name suggestions at patreon.com/therapy. But that's not all. For Mental Health Month, we've got some great new announcements about our Patreon.
No.
There it is. We finally activated the annual membership. I finally
Oh, nice.
figured it out. Yay! So now at patreon.com/therapy, you can just sign up for a year. You can just do that now.
And they save money, right?
You do. You get 10% off.
Yeah.
So you
That's
just get the
awesome.
whole year knocked out. You're signed up for a year. You don't have to worry about the stupid rebill thing. It's done. Easy peasy. The other thing that we unlocked, we have hundreds of people attached to our Patreon who are free members. So they've gone all the way
Yeah.
to the Patreon, but for whatever reason, they never attached money to it. They just said, I would like to just sign up for free.
Right.
They don't get to access any of the content, but they're just on standby. And occasionally
Okay.
we
They have
do
a membership.
post. They have a membership. And occasionally we post public things, big announcements for the show, stuff like that. And when we do that, they do get that to their email. They get to see it. But a lot of folks, just for one reason or another, that isn't within their budget.
Right.
Even if, though we keep it as low as $1.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's just not in everybody's budget to do some money on that. So here's what we've done.
Some people run at a deficit each month.
That's the deal.
It just happens.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've set it up so that if you are a free member at patreon.com/therapy, or if you decide to go ahead and join and become a free member, it'll cost you nothing. You'll now get access to the most recent 5 episodes of the show. You'll get that for free trial. It's already built in as soon as you sign up, or if you're already signed up as a free member, go into the Patreon right now. You have access. It's going to show you the
cool.
last 5 episodes that
But they
have been
won't
recorded.
it won't keep on updating.
It won't
right?
keep going. No,
Yeah,
it'll
yeah.
give them the most recent 5.
So you get those 5,
Yep.
and then you have to go back to the
It's like a
ad.
free trial.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
you have to
and
go back to the ad version.
Well, yeah, then you're going back to the main feed. That's
Yeah.
correct. So you have that now if you want it. And we've got one more thing that we can do this too. if you're out there and you would like to donate a gift membership to one of the folks on that free membership side, somebody that can't afford it, you can now do that.
Wow.
So now you can go and you can donate a gift membership. It's set up at the Patreon. There's also a link in the episode description. Also, there's been some posts. If you're already a member of the Patreon, you're going to see a post this last week that tells you how to do this. And if you would like to do that, go ahead and sign up. The instructions are all in there for how to do it. And basically, if you're out there and you need a free membership, all you got to do is email us. Email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Let us know, hey, I'd love to go on the list when free memberships become available, or if somebody has a donated membership, I'd like to have one. And then when people donate memberships, we're just going to pass those over to you. It's all going to be brokered through us. And so if you're out there and you need a benefactor, we've got very, very generous folks that do a lot for the show. They would love an excuse to put some more money in the hat and know that they're getting somebody a membership who otherwise couldn't have had
a really
one.
cool idea.
It's super cool. So
I
that's
like that.
all available now. It's all at patreon.com/therapy. The links are in the episode description. There's been posts throughout this week. But if you just go to patreon.com/therapy, you could see everything. But if you're out there and you need a donated membership, go ahead and email us. We're going to keep that completely private. Nobody that donates a membership is going to know who got it. Nobody in the world is going to know that you received a free membership. Whenever we announce your name as a new member, you're going to be announced like anybody else at whatever level the donated membership was at. No caveats, no special distinctions. That's yours. You're just a part of the community, and you'll instantly be a part of the Discord and everything else, and you'll have that for as long as that membership is active. So super, super
Which
cool
now
stuff.
can be at least a year.
It could be.
Yeah.
Somebody could donate a year membership if they wanted to. So really, really fun stuff. Patreon.com/therapy. Mental Health Month is off to an awesome start. We've got our Pony Up for Mental Health campaign. You can name this horsey, or you could just feed it snacks. If you just want to feed this fucking horse snacks.
And you can
see
have
videos of
and
it.
you can get Emma to give the horse a message on Instagram.
This is true. You can also get the
So it could
the
be like,
horse a
oh,
message.
Ray sent this snack in, and
Yes.
Ray says that Jim Jobin says that January 6th was an inside job.
9/11.
All of it.
9/11.
No,
January
it's 10-4.
6th. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's
fun
all an
stuff.
inside job, Nick. I don't
Okay.
know if you know this about everything, but it's all an inside job.
It's always
So,
inside.
Side note. Laura and I were watching PBS like we do.
Speaking of January 6th.
We were watching
So it
Nova.
was date night.
We were watching Nova, and they were interviewing a couple scientists, and they were interviewing this one guy, and he was talking about his co-author on this research study, and his name was something to the effect, I don't remember the first name, but it was like something like Jeff Hitler.
Oh,
Oh,
God. Change that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then
that's-
I was like, no fucking way. No
our-
one still has that
Our
name.
family
No.
is a
And
long,
they-
proud heritage, and we refuse to
and
change it
and
because of
they
that
showed-
dick.
They showed like the abstract or whatever from the research, and that was his name.
Oh my
yes.
God.
And I was like, and then Nova didn't acknowledge this at all. They
Which
just
is
kept
the high
going
ground.
with the story.
That is the high ground.
No, it's not.
Nah, you gotta acknowledge
can't.
it.
You
gotta say
can't.
something.
You can't
No
just say
relation.
that and then
Yeah,
not
yeah.
go back to it.
No,
Like,
just no
because I
relation
don't know.
after
I don't
every
even
time.
remember. Here's the thing. I don't know. It was.
I
It
don't
was
know
an
his paper.
amazing show.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what they researched.
Right, nothing.
I have no idea anymore
Just that.
because once they said that,
You started
so
Googling.
and I'm like, I've got questions. We need to go back.
Yeah. If
we
your
need to
last
go back.
name is Hitler,
Just
I think you
change it.
change it. You know,
costs like-
Of course you do.
It
you
costs
change
like
it to
$200
Dahmer.
At the very
Cosby,
least, you have
you know.
a working name.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Just something easier. Oof. Or just add a DOS in front of it. I think that'll get away with it. Just DOS Hitler. That's fine. Because then you just cram it together. DOS Hitler, right? That works.
The Shitler.
The Shitler.
The Shitler.
Anything. any possible tweaking is the right way to go.
Yeah.
So, but hey,
Change the
Dr.
name
Hitler,
to Latrine.
Just
Used to be shit.
good change.
Good
That's
change.
a good change.
I was like, you just add a T. Hitler.
Hitler.
Oh, I meant just a double T, like, but it still says Hitler.
I say just pluralize it. Just put an
Yeah.
S on the end.
Hitler's.
Yeah.
Just Hitler's.
Or just tell people it's
Even that is
Hitler
not-
and the T is silent.
Yeah.
right.
Just it's a soft T.
It's pronounced Hitler.
Hitler.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
that's the way.
Yeah.
Hitler.
You're saying it
Yeah.
wrong.
Hitler.
So anyway, when you're thinking about naming that pony,
yeah. All
Lots
names
of-
welcome.
lots-
Democracy is going to settle this.
I don't know if they're welcome, but they're there.
Patreon.com/therapy. Name the pony if you join as a producer or partner in May, or if you are an existing one. Or you could just feed the pony and just use the little store button there. Feed the pony as many snacks this month as you like. There will be videos on our Instagram page. There's 2 ponies. They eat like horses. So feed them and know that you are sponsoring mental health. Buy somebody a gift package, a gift-donated membership if you'd like. Ask for one. Just email us. We'll take care of that for you. Or do a 5-episode free trial. If you've been listening to the show for a while, never could put money in the hat, or maybe it just wasn't your jam, now's the time. Jump in there and do the free trial. Listen to 5 extended episodes. It's a good time. You can hear about Jim's cooking adventures in this episode where I accidentally started another fire. But handled it really well. So check it out.
Jim's food was so fire.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got some great questions for today's show, and we're leading off the order with long-term relationship advice from Alec, our buddy Alec. Hey, Pod Therapy people. Heard the queue was getting low, so I thought I'd jump in. A few years ago, I started listening to this show. My marriage was suffering because of a huge number of issues. I was very unhappy with my body, and I was struggling to get work done. I wrote in for episodes 200 anonymously and 241 not anonymously regarding my marriage and subsequent divorce. The advice you guys gave was prescient and helpful, and I took it to heart. Since my divorce, I've moved to Europe to continue my PhD research at CERN, met a bunch of amazing people through the Pod Therapy Discord, gotten physically healthy, and I'm getting married in 28 days at the time of this writing.
Awesome. Back to your ex?
Yeah, that's right. I think so. Yeah, clearly. They finally worked it out. I don't think I can overstate how much of an impact on my mental health Pod Therapy has had. Were it not for this show, the friends I've made as a part of the Pod Therapy community, and the ability you've given me to dialogue with complex issues, I would not be as good a person or partner as I am today. Suffice it to say, I've come a long way, in no small amount, thanks to Pod Therapy and this community.
That's
Now,
awesome.
As I sit here only a few weeks from my wedding, I thought I'd ask each of you for your advice. What tools in your relationship toolboxes do you use to make long-term relationships work? What do you value about your relationship that you think makes it unique? P.S. At some point, my wife and I will come to Vegas for a visit, and I'd love to sit in on a recording. Also, you're all invited to the Elvis wedding that I want to surprise her with.
Hell yeah.
Don't tell her. Love, Alec.
Shit, I already told you.
Elvis is out of the bag.
Okay, so you want relationship advice.
I got it.
As the current Pod Therapy record holder for number of marriages.
You're very experienced, is what I hear.
Yeah. Let me... I got this.
All right. We'll back up. We're back up.
I don't know. I got nothing.
Can I just say really quickly, though?
Nope.
Okay.
Nick is to marriages as I am to cooking.
No, so for our wedding in 2014, we did a whatchamacallit, like a big canvas that people could sign, and so it looks like a tree, and on the leaves people just write their name. But I have this hanging in my office, not where clients can see, but kind of off to the side. And every once in a while, like go and read through the names, because some people actually decided to put little advice quips in there. Like 3 of them, and we did not have a lot of people. It was maybe like 75 people, so not a ton. I swear there's like 3 times people are like, have sex, make sure you have sex. And I'm
Don't
like,
forget to have sex.
You know what? If it were that fucking easy, I don't think it'd be 50% divorce rate or whatever it was. I was just like kind of annoyed. So I like this question because I've realized through being married like a long time or just being with Peter a long time, you don't have a clue until you're in it. Like looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea like what it took to get here. And it's hard to even put into words sometimes because it's a million different little things. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I just had to throw out there like all the people like, have sex. All these old people, make sure you have sex.
Right.
I'm like, don't go to bed angry. I'm like,
don't go to bed angry. What trite advice.
I mean, I think it's good advice. I don't think it's advice that you can always follow.
Sure.
I think it's impossible to just always like. I think it's a nice thing to strive for.
Right.
But it's not something that you're.
It's not a hard and fast. Like
you can't. I don't think you can be expected
I think
to
you
actually
do it if you don't plan on sleeping.
Yeah,
Well,
helps.
that's true.
Yeah, like if you make the
Yes.
commitment, we're not going to go to bed angry.
You're not going to sleep.
Also, we're probably not going to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, fine.
But I think there we go.
I would
Although if I'm
submit-
tired all the next day, I'm going to still be angry.
And
now I'm
that's
really
what I
angry,
think.
'cause
I'm
now
like,
I'm tired.
I'm
I'm
going to
tired
bed.
and angry.
We'll
Well,
finish
I
tomorrow.
can't tell you how many problems and fights and conflicts over 20 years have been solved by going to sleep.
That is a great point.
Honestly,
Almost like go to bed and talk about
and
it
the
tomorrow.
next day I'm like,
Let's shut this down.
I don't
for
remember
now.
why I cared.
It
You know,
didn't
like I don't
matter.
remember why I was so upset about this. Like I'm kind of over it now or whatever.
Right.
Or you just wake up, you go about your business, you have your coffee, everybody goes to work, you get home that night, and then somebody just says something nice. So they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, how was your day?" And you're like, "Oh, okay, so I guess we're not fighting." And then you're like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care about this fight anymore." So yeah, I think a lot of times actually going to bed fixes the angry.
Oh, with fighting,
fine to do that.
at some point, I realized that you can just decide to stop fighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't
That's a
have
great
to reach
point.
a resolution.
No, that's
You can just
absolutely
decide
true.
to be like, hey, can we be done with this? Let's
Yeah.
be done with this.
At
Let's
least
go
for
get
now,
dinner.
and figure it out another time. Or
The
whatever.
ability, I think one of the most dangerous things that I'll see in relationships that I'll be nervous about, and I'll think, oh boy, we got to deal with this. Or
Exotic
this is going
pets.
to be
The four
that doesn't
horsemen
help.
of the apocalypse.
Right,
No, I'm
get
just
into
kidding.
that shit. No, that's fine. I like that theory.
Yeah.
But like people that take offense, like if they're really easily poked and they're like, what did you mean by that?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know? And it's like, gosh, and even when somebody tries to solve something, they'll make 3 more errors on the way there. And it takes perfection, right, before you can really resolve the issue. And this kind of floats back to what you were just saying, Jacob, like that ability for partners to just look at it and say, I'm not prepared to die on this hill. As we've said a million times, I'd rather be happy than right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I do love you, and I want to maximize the minutes I enjoy with you. And I'm just prepared to drop this thing and
Let's just
not
be done.
necessarily feel like but like when people feel wronged and there's been like an injustice or a disrespect or some symbolic problem, and that can get really dangerous in this day and age because I think a lot of
Yeah.
people get on like their social medias and they kind of get into their own hate spiral pit. And men and women both do this, right? Like
Yeah.
dudes get red pilled and like women go into their man hate and fury and then like they come back and they're like, you know what? You put your fucking socks next to the laundry basket and that means that you're a chauvinist and you don't fucking respect me and I'm not going to fucking be your handmaid's tale. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like,
That doesn't mean that. I am a chauvinist and I don't respect you, but my socks don't have anything to do with
I
it.
just missed
Valid.
the hamper.
Yes.
How dare you?
You're just wrong on this one. Well, not completely wrong, but wrong on part of it.
So I'll
An
lead
important
off,
part of it.
I'll lead off the advice order by saying I think you've got long-term relationships, I think, tend to be successful. One trait that I notice, they're easygoing.
Yeah.
What I see in long-term relationships, if they tell me they've been together for a really long time, I'm never surprised when I get to know them that they have a sense of humor, that they're easygoing, they're not easily offended.
Yeah.
Yes, they fight. Yes, they go at it. They'll go 10 rounds over some shit. But like for the most part, they're easy to put back together, and there is a sense of like good humor, let it bygones be bygones, sleeping dogs lie. They have the ability to just drop it and just move on over time.
Yeah, I
That
do think it
seems to be a
takes
good
trust to get there.
It
It's like
does.
the challenge. You have to like
Yeah.
put that into practice for a while to say, all right, I can let my guard down. I can
Right.
let this go. And I can trust that person's not going to hold it against me or bring it up
Right. Keeping
every
score.
so often.
Very
Keeping
dangerous.
score. Yeah.
Keeping
that's
score, because
not
then
great.
and this will happen where and like look, that's not to steal away from couples that are like, hey, there's a pattern in our relationship. It does suck. I'm doing 80% of the housework. You don't do it.
Yeah.
And like I don't like this arrangement, and I think that you take me for granted, and like it does bother me, and I've brought it up a million times, and then you do it, you do better for a day or two or a week, and then you kind of slip back into your average again, and it kind of sucks, and I feel like, okay, that's fine, like that is a different situation, but like the ability to sort of choose to be happy, not keep score, not necessarily have like a ledger. I think long-term relationship advice, if you can get away from that,
Yeah.
and both sides just saying like, I don't know who's up. I just love you and I try to be good to you and
Right.
I look for you to be good to me.
I feel like that is probably harder to do when kids are involved.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that kids choose who they want to spend time with, who they want to give responsibility to. Like, Mom, I can't find my shoes.
A lot of
so now
times
Mom feels like I have to find the shoes or whatever.
They walk right past Dad and go find
exactly,
Mom.
exactly.
And then Mom's like, what the fuck?
Because Jim
I'm
has
doing
trained
all
them
the-
to.
Yeah, I just don't make
he
eye
gives them
contact.
treats.
Throw the ball down the hall.
Yeah,
and I
it's
run.
Your mom wanted to give you $8. Go find her.
Go find Mom.
So I do feel like that adds this challenge of as much as, say, Peter and I, like, we can just be attuned to each other and say, like, oh, you know what? He's really busy doing these other things this week, or he's having a tough week for whatever reason. Like, I'll just step in and pick up for a while. And then when I'm really, like, out of it or busy or whatever, like, he picks it up. And it's like, and I don't even know how long that is. It could be days or weeks because I'm not keeping track.
Because there might be a month where you're like, the majority of this month I've pretty much been doing it.
Exactly. We're both doing the best we can at any given time. And I think that balances out over time to where you don't feel taken advantage of. My advice that I like to give, I decided after thinking on this some years ago, I'm like, what do you tell people? Like, what is good advice for relationships? But my thoughts are that growing and changing together is super important because you are two people that enter in this relationship, but to leave, it just takes one person changing their mind.
Right.
And so if you're not able to, stay in good communication, listen to each other, pay attention to each other, whatever that entails.
Right.
If you're not able to communicate well enough to sort of say, hey, I want to do these things. How are you doing? What do you think if I go do these things? Like, trying to balance both of you growing and changing together rather than apart, I think is important. Because my opinion, we're different people every decade of our lives.
Right.
Like, you're a totally different person.
Yes.
Every decade.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
I'm going to circle back to that in a second, but I want to pick brains over on this side. And you're not disqualified just because you've been divorced and remarried. I think if you've been in a car accident, people would like to know how to drive from that guy who's been in it. I've been injured, so we'd like to know.
Your life is a car wreck.
I've seen
Use the
some
on
shit.
ramps for getting on the freeway. Use the off ramps for getting off the freeway.
He's a veteran.
Yeah.
He's been through it.
Yeah. No, I think for me, it's helpful the longer you're with somebody and you seek understanding, to understand, and as opposed to try to manipulate or change behavior. So I don't need to necessarily, I'm not trying to change someone else's behavior. What I'm trying to do is get a better understanding of it. And for me, that's helpful because then I don't take things so personally. Yeah. Like when something happens, even though I feel like I was in the right, I can understand, well, given this person's history and just kind of how they see the world, how, they tend to interact with people, seeing all of these things, I can understand how this person interpreted this way.
Right.
That's
and
really
from
good advice.
their perspective, it makes complete sense.
Right.
If you can, that's a good piece of life advice. If you can strive to understand where people are coming from, I feel like you get into a lot less arguments.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you really understand where people are coming from, or at least attempt to, the other party always sees that.
Yeah.
That is something that is very obvious and very clear to everyone, and everyone appreciates. I mean, think about just in your own lives. When you see someone really working to understand something from your point of view and to really consider your feelings
And
in
genuinely.
this. Yes.
Yeah.
That feels really good.
And it's disarming.
Yes.
Because then you realize, like, oh, you're not trapping me. You're not playing chess.
No.
You're not manipulating me into a corner.
You're just trying to understand what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the only way to achieve validation. Like if that's what you're trying to do, you're trying to get to a point where, because you can't really move on until the person feels like they've been listened to.
Right.
It's one thing, like, to kind of go back to the advice that you had earlier of like, you know what, I just don't want to be angry at this. I just don't want to fight about this anymore. Like for one person that may be easy, but for the other person it may be like, yeah, I'll bet you would like to move on and talk about this because you pawned my grandmother's ring.
Right.
I'll bet you would like to move on.
I bet you'd like to start this conversation right now.
I bet it's really inconvenient for you.
Yeah.
I was thinking something more along the level of I forgot to do the dishes.
Okay,
I feel like that's a good one to just like, let's decide to not fight about this.
Yeah, I slept with the babysitter. Can we move
that's,
on?
That's tougher. Third degree.
I'm willing to move on. Are you
Ran
ready to
over
move
your
on?
sister.
Yeah.
When are you going to let it go? It happened yesterday.
Yes, I'm still fucking the babysitter currently. Right now.
No.
You caught me.
I like what
I'm gonna finish if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
dear.
you're being rude. Okay. How am I going to finish with all the screaming?
You know how you don't like when I interrupt you when you're talking? I don't like you when you interrupt me when I'm fucking the babysitter. Dear.
No, I like that advice, Nick, because that is actually one teeny area that Peter and I struggle at a little bit. And the funniest thing happened a couple weeks ago where, because we've been working on this, I was doing the dishes and he was going through the mail and he read off a piece of mail and I misheard him. So I thought he mentioned mail from this place I got. I like never get loans, but I'd gotten this loan with 0 interest. So I made sure to pay it off. And so when he mentioned the name, I was like, I paid that off. Like they shouldn't be sending anything is what I was thinking.
Right.
So he says the name that I think I hear and I go, what? Like, I was like, no, they are not sending me. That was my perspective. And Peter looks at me and I can see on his face, he is like triggered by me.
Yeah.
He thinks I'm mad at him for something.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Like his face goes like solid. And when I see that, I was like, I know this is a misunderstanding. So I like finished the dishes. I was like, no, what did you just say? And he was like, he repeated himself. I'm like, oh, okay. And I go, what did you think I was thinking just then? I was like, let me ask real quick. And he's like, yeah, I thought you were like mad at me. I was like, I wasn't. I was like shocked because I thought I had taken care of this.
Yeah.
I was more mad at myself. Like, what?
Yeah.
They are not sending me this. But
So I was prepared to be mad, not at you, but I was prepared to be mad.
I'm expressing emotion. It is
Yeah.
not at you, but that like I could see it on his face at that moment. And that's how easy it is to be like create a whole thing if you never just clarify. And you're just like, oh my God.
That's the difficult thing too, is learning how to manage emotions in a relationship, because like your spouse is the person that will see every emotion that you're going through.
Yeah.
But your spouse is not the cause of every emotion. And that's the challenging piece, is to be right
Unless you're
there.
married to Jim.
Yes.
Then yes.
Quit lighting fires.
Yeah.
Like,
Stop.
I will
Jesus
not.
Christ. This isn't fucking hard. But like, you know,
Burning the house, flooding the house. Pick one.
yeah, like
Never both.
Find a lane. God damn.
Pick a lane,
Both
Jobin.
those things did happen.
but like, you know, your high moments, your lowest moments, your fears, your anxieties, your anger, they see all of it and they're not involved in all of it. Like it's, you know, it's work, it's, you know, these hobbies, it's all these other things, but because they're there 24/7, they experience all of it. And sometimes it's really hard to be in that position and to understand that this isn't about me. And even if you understand that this isn't about me, that doesn't mean that you're not experiencing it. Right. Because it's like, because then it's
Still shitty.
tough. It's tough because like,
It's shitty to be
I
around
get-
somebody who's angry.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
your boss is an asshole and you don't like your boss and this is frustrating. And I know that it's not about me, but why am I always,
Yeah.
you know, having to take it? You know,
It
like
sucks that your boss is making your life difficult.
Yes.
It also sucks that because of you, your boss is making my life difficult.
yeah.
that
And
doesn't
so you have
seem
to
fair.
you have to find that balance. I think that's
Yeah.
the toughest part.
That's where like the feeling is valid, even if it's not the truth, right? Like
Yeah.
Right.
you're still having that experience. But
Yeah, and I like that idea of like fundamentally trying to be, what is it, to understand rather than be understood.
seek understanding. Is
Empathy.
that what it was?
I like that a lot. And to circle back to something you were saying too, Whitney, about like people are going to change, right? Like, I mean, all three of us all four of us actually married very young ages, you know, and like changed over time. And who we
That's
are
true.
now is nowhere near what we were initially. I mean, literally, I've changed religions and politics like in that time. Like that's insane. Like that's a
Same.
lot of, yeah,
Same.
exactly. There's a lot of relatability there. And so like, I feel like you need, it's
After
always,
Jim got his pardon, he really changed his tune.
yeah.
Lucky.
Accepted Islam. Just trying to change my life. So, but like, you know, you look back on this stuff and you think, we went through so many different iterations, so many different versions of ourselves. And it is a gamble, right? Because like we need the freedom to change and like, but you need to continually rediscover who your partner is. I've seen a lot of relationships in therapy where
That's a
they're
good way
like,
to word it, yeah.
you've changed. You're not the person that I married. As if that's some kind of damning indictment.
Right.
And I look at that and go, I sure as fuck hope they're not.
Of course they have.
Yeah, of course they have changed. They're not the same person that, his mother remembers whenever he was 5.
Right.
You know, like, we do go through evolutions. Our job, though, with our spouse is to allow for that.
Yeah.
And to be curious with that, right? To co-discover that, to co-create that, because we're evolving too. And I know for me, that was a big part. Like, I have changed so much, she has changed so much. But I think that as we went through our different versions of ourselves, there was a genuine curiosity and an acceptance with each other, while also still pruning those branches too.
Yeah.
Because like, you're trying on new ideas, you're trying on new personality traits. And as you're evolving, sometimes you're like, I like this. And it's like, okay, that's not going to be congruent, right? Like, that pokes me in the eye.
Like
That's
Hitler.
not going to work here. Yeah. Like, I tried to change our last name to Hitler.
Yeah.
She's like, look, I know you're proud of that German heritage, but like, we're not going that far with it. But like,
I've already changed the kids' names.
right. Adolf and Adolf Jr. Eva.
You named our daughter
Eva
Adolf
Braun.
Jr. After our son?
I'm committed. But
I don't even understand what that means.
I just think you have to do that.
You're
You have to
all Ava
check in.
Braun and no Ava Brains.
Oh, nice. One of my favorite things to do with couples is to have them do the values inventory together.
Oh, that's a good.
And
one,
I like them doing, like, if I'm giving couples kind of like a kit that I want them to like revisit annually or maybe every couple of years, doing a values analysis together, doing a love languages analysis together.
Yeah, I just really quick
talking
want to
through
say
that.
that the love languages is the only other thing that is so simple. I know people kind of roll their eyes at it sometimes, but I'm like,
know.
get back to basics because you
Well,
do change.
Yeah,
every time.
I had a couple once where I brought up love languages. They were a younger couple, and the one member of the partner was very, I think, underwhelmed, by me bringing that up. Really rolled their eyes and was like, this is really, okay, this tired old shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I get it. And like, I get that it's tired. I get that it's been said a gajillion times. I get that you don't need to come pay me as a therapist to bring this up.
Right.
But like, the fundamental principle is there's a difference between being in a relationship in a passive, unintentional way versus you intending to do love at your partner and trying to be a force for good in their life.
Yeah.
And that's what fundamentally love languages are. It's a paradigm that could be bullshit for all I know. I also use like needs analysis as an adjacent concept, but it's a way to be inquisitive about what your partner would accept and feel as a loving gesture in their life, and then being about the business of doing that and making that a habit as the way you do your marriage, the way you live. And like, whenever you've got somebody intentionally doing good in your life, it's hard not to love them. It's hard not to be very fond of them, to be very close to them, be very disarmed in their presence, to believe that they are just
to want
out
to
for
be
your
around
good.
them and like them.
Unconditionally, like just be like, okay, yeah, you've just built up this huge bank account with me. And so I realize it can be tired advice, but like, it's good advice for a reason.
It works.
It does work.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what therapists are doing is we bring that stuff in, and it's really frustrating with couples because a lot of times they're like, oh, I really thought you'd have some brilliant idea. And like, I don't know what you think we've got. Like, we don't have like the state secrets vault that we keep that tells us how to save relationships.
We do, but it wouldn't be much of a secret's vault if we just opened it every
we don't
time
give it
somebody
away
came
for
to fucking
free.
therapy.
What do you think this is?
Do you feel like TikTok and social media kind of waters that down, like, or murkies the waters, whatever I want to say, like, because I feel like people say, oh yeah, I know what they are, so do that. But really, again, like years ago when I forced Peter to read this book, he was like, oh, it gives like examples and breaks down parts of it. Like, it looks very simple if you just look at a 20-second TikTok that goes through each of them, and it seems self-explanatory, but there's a lot more to it.
The love languages, in my opinion, are pointless if they are not turned into an action plan.
Correct.
That's what I do. That's what I,
great.
and like, a lot of men really benefit from very directive therapy that's like, it's tasks.
Action-oriented.
It's action-oriented. It's goal setting. It's short-term goals. We're making lists. We're making calendar
You don't have
reminders.
to read her mind anymore.
Right.
Here
I
it
want
is.
you to do this, and I am going to check with you in a week. We're going to find out if you did this thing. And like, it's just building up that habit, right? And that's everything. And a lot of people will be like, oh, well, it's not genuine. You're doing it because you're following some new program.
I don't want to have to tell them. They should just know.
Well, get a divorce then.
Yeah, I guess. Good luck.
Because
Let
guess
me know
what?
how
They
that
don't.
goes.
And like, I'm working on changing them. But sometimes, and this is Jacob's old adage of fake it till you make it, a lot of times function leads. Like you lead with function, you lead with action, and cognition and impressions come later, right? Like a lot of people just became religious because they went to church all the time and prayed all the time. And then one day when they were in a moment of despair, that's what they went to. That day it was very genuine for them because that's the habit they formed in their life. And so whenever you just bring a lot of loving structure to your relationship, it's very intentional, and that's the way you live, you start to just feel for them all the time. And they feel back for you. So, but super exciting, Alec, and can't thank you enough for the extremely kind words. You know, you've been a part of our community for so long. You've contributed so many things, been a great friend in the Discord, and just being an awesome person, and having known your story throughout the years and seeing the changes that you've gone through and just how your life has fundamentally changed. Congratulations, man. Just could not have happened to a better guy. And on behalf of the entire Pod Therapy community, we love you. We're excited for you, and we're all waiting for our wedding invites.
Yes.
At least send us the registry.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking about panic attacks, about death. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty, Scoop, Mason, Miller, Tess, Miller, Byler, T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar, Swan, Rose, Hannah Marie, Emma, Kane, and Myra. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. All right, we got presidential quotes.
Oh, you
trivia.
check your email when Emma sends you trivia, but you don't check from your fucking
No.
co-host.
Do you know why?
It alerts when.
Oh, you got a
I'm just
notification?
No, because it goes to my Mental Fit personal training account.
Jesus Christ. All right. I'll start emailing that one. That's fine.
Yeah, probably.
DM him on
and by the
Instagram.
way-
saying
DM on
it's a-
Instagram. I do follow you now on Instagram.
You got a lot of little
good.
followers
Yeah,
in there.
I know.
was like,
Myra posted it to the
mean-
Discord and was like, hey,
Oh,
here
really?
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, nice.
That explains a lot. Because I haven't logged onto it in almost a week.
I almost logged in the other day. I was like, I should post a bio about Nick.
Oh, could you?
Just made up. I'm gonna use Jacob's
Actually-
picture.
Actually, give Jacob control of that account.
No,
for
no,
one
no,
week.
no.
Yeah, just send that on over.
Send that.
I don't think we need to do that.
I'll be nice and not
necessarily.
do that to Nick. Okay.
It's okay. I don't know how to post things on Instagram anyway.
What in the hell happened
Darn,
to my
we
goddamn
don't have
account
to-
thing?
Do
Mine
y'all
are all
u-
guesses
while he's
anyway,
figuring
eeny,
this
meeny,
out,
miny, moe.
do y'all use WhatsApp?
Yes.
Yes.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just downloaded it because
Okay.
Oh,
I
there it is.
started taking like a contract job and they just need you to use WhatsApp
Sure.
for their
Because
communication.
encrypted.
And I'm getting messages from like random ass
Yeah.
Brazilians. And
Yeah,
shit.
that
And
happens.
I'm like, how the fuck? What is this?
I don't. Do you get a lot of those?
Just one.
Oh, okay, I was
Yeah.
like, you
Yeah.
should. I get one every now and then from a
Okay.
Yeah.
rando on
Okay.
there, but
No, you just delete it, block it.
All right, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But I just like what? I just
That's all you need to do.
It's-
It's not a big deal.
I use
Okay.
it mostly when I'm traveling. It's like my number one texting app because you can send pictures to people if
Right.
you don't have an iPhone. It'll like send them more clear.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Or video, and yeah, it's just easier to use internationally.
that's cool.
That's it. That's like I've had it for years and years because
But
of all the
only-
international people I
yes.
work with.
That's the
Okay.
only reason.
Like
I
there
really
is a
have it.
whole group of friends and coworkers in my life that I only communicate with on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Do your
Okay.
Australians talk to you on WhatsApp?
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
Whitney, you're
yeah.
up first.
Okay. Dang it.
I'll give you the quote. You got to name the president.
Oh,
Two on the fly,
shit.
one multiple choice.
Okay, I know none of these.
It's all Millard Fillmore.
I hope it is.
Is that a
The
president?
only thing you have to fear is fear itself. This
Oh,
was
is
during
that
their first
Roosevelt? Who's
inaugural
that?
address.
I'm not helping you.
Options.
A goddamn bit.
Woodrow Wilson, Franklin D. Roosevelt,
The D.
It's for dick.
Theodore Roosevelt, or Harry S. Truman.
Theodore Roosevelt.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Good
All
guess though.
Which way is it going? Does Jacob get the bounce or
I
do
think
I
it
get
goes
the
to
bounce?
you.
I'll take the
Oh.
bounce. Give me FDR
Aw.
for a
Yeah.
gajillion points.
It is FDR. I'll give you.
I
I'll
was
give
close.
you
I said
half a point.
Roosevelt.
You got half
I
a
got
point.
close.
I'll take
Half a
half.
point.
I'll take the half on the bounce.
Okay, Jim,
Yes.
speak softly and carry a big stick, and you will go far.
I'm going to take Theodore Roosevelt.
Correct.
Boom!
Nice.
It should have been Andrew Jackson because he actually beat somebody
With a stick.
with a stick.
Oh, damn.
With his cane. Yeah. And survived an assassination attempt and beat the shit out of that guy, too.
Yeah.
Okay, Jacob, you're up. And the statement of Robert E. Lee, who's no longer in favor. Did you notice that? No longer in favor. Never fight uphill, my boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake.
Oh, my
He
God.
lost his great general, and they were fighting.
Trump?
Never fight uphill, my boys. But it was too late.
Clearly,
Abraham Lincoln.
Okay, no, that was not actually the
Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln.
Here's your real one.
Honest Abe.
Honesty is the first chapter in the Book of Wisdom. Which founding father and president said this?
That I'll go on the fly. That sounds like a Washington thing.
Okay. No.
No, okay.
Ooh, going for options?
Do I get
Whitney?
options?
You can
if
take
I
them.
have- or do I have to
I'll
guess?
give you options.
Options.
George Washington,
Take that one.
That's a
I
good
know,
one.
right?
John Adams, Thomas T.J. Jefferson, or James Madison.
Adams, I'm guessing.
No.
Oh my goodness!
Sorry.
Coming full circle.
Yeah.
I probably Madison.
No. 5
Shit.
points for Nick.
Jefferson. Damn
You're
it.
good at this,
Yes.
Nick.
Tommy. Fuck.
I'm good at you guys
Jefferson.
being dumb.
Yeah. Paying off.
When I think of honesty,
I do
think
feel
of good old Tommy J.
Even when I get the question wrong, I feel a little bit of justified.
Yeah.
When I hear the answer that I guessed incorrectly in the list of choices.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fair.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was on the right trail.
I'm in the neighborhood.
You
All
were.
right.
Yeah. I felt yours was a very fair answer because if you're hearing founding fathers and honesty,
Washington was all the children's stories are about how honest
take the
he was.
lob. Yeah, you got to throw that dart.
Had to tell somebody that he cut down a cherry tree or something.
Yeah.
He cannot tell a lie.
Yeah.
He wouldn't lie to his mom about vandalism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Tree aside.
It was his dad, I believe. But
yeah, they also all
It
owned
is-
slaves. So there was that too.
Yeah.
I'm in the lead, I think. With
No,
2.5
I have
points.
5.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Shit.
Try again.
Man. I mean, I don't want him to have 5, but when all 3 of us whiff
yeah.
on a 4 possible
It
question
should be
answer.
10. If we're being fair.
You're not
I'm
wrong.
being very
This
kind.
speaks to my test-taking
I believe
abilities.
since this rule has been initiated that you haven't lost one.
Yeah,
since.
I know. Yeah.
So I don't think it needs to be 10. 5 seems to be plenty.
I think you
Yes,
should get a
that's
point
fair.
for every person who missed. I think that's you get all the
Yeah, maybe
misses.
3.
Yeah. Jeez, you get buried in this points. All right. Next question. Panic attacks about death from Sleepless in Seattle. Oh, good. Somebody's finally doing that. Hey, friends, I'm a 37-year-old male from the UK, and I have panic attacks about death. Quick side note, you might remember answering my question about a year ago about motivating yourself to go out for a walk because you know it's good for your mental health. You helped me to reframe how I view walking in my mind, and I'm now a lot more active than I used to be. So active, in fact, that I have recently taken up running.
Oh, cool.
So thank you for your help. And
That's too much. Go back to
Yeah.
work.
I love
dial
it.
it down
Keep
a little bit.
running.
Slow it back down.
Run,
cool it
Forrest.
off, Sleepless. Okay. So thank you for all your help and for all you do on the podcast supporting mental health. So some relevant backstory about me that relates to my question today. My dad died 5 years ago of cancer. It was less than a year from diagnosis to death. It was hard to deal with at the time, but I was already in therapy for anxiety and depression, and so it was another thing that we dealt with over the several years I had weekly therapy sessions. Being in therapy at the time really helped me to deal with this. I stopped doing therapy about 4 years ago. I was a lot better at managing my day-to-day. It's still something I deal with, and some days it's worse than others, but it's not stopping me from living my life like I used to. 3 years ago, my father-in-law died of cancer. Again, less than a year from diagnosis to death. I helped my partner through it, and I think I was better able to be supportive because of what I had been through myself already. Last year, we had to put our cat down because they had cancer. That was less than a month from finding out they had it to having to put them down. I feel a little guilty even mentioning the cat in the same list as the 2 most important men in my life, but I mention it as it feels relevant to what I'm writing in about. I've always found the idea of death pretty terrifying. I'm an atheist, and to me, the idea of just ceasing to exist is awful, and the fact that there is nothing I can do to escape it or stop it from happening. That feels like literal nightmare fuel. Honestly, I think the people who aren't afraid of death are the weird ones. The best analogy I can think of: if you put someone in one of those Indiana Jones-style death traps, the kind where the walls have spikes and they're slowly moving towards you,
Slower.
they're going to crush you, I think pretty much every human is going to panic and scream and do whatever they can to get out. Well, those walls are slowly inching towards you. They might take 30, 40, 50 years to get there, but you are trapped and they are going to get you. So why isn't everyone panicking?
I'm very
thanks
nervous
a fucking
now.
lot, Sleepless. Jesus
I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Guys, I don't think I can finish the question. I'm kind of freaking out right now. Thanks for that.
All right, Jim's losing his shit.
I'm just going to go cry in the corner. You guys give the feedback. Anyway, I have two actual...
I know what we're going to be doing for the next hour.
Just breathe in the bag.
Down.
Breathe in the bag, Jim. You're fine.
Rocking in the corner.
Lots of time, buddy. Anyway, I have two actual
If
problems.
anybody can fucking survive death, I think you've proven in the last
I've gotten
week.
through a couple.
It's pretty,
I've dodged a few.
Yeah.
Death let me know I'm on notice, all right? But it's not my time. I had it coming, but not soon.
Liar, liar, kitchen on fire.
Anyway, I have two actual problems at the moment. One is that 2 or 3 times a week, I have mild panic attacks when I'm lying in bed trying to get to sleep. These are all pretty similar and roughly go like this. I'm trying to get to sleep. I think about how one day I'm going to die, how I can't do anything to avoid it, how I could have cancer already and not know about it, and I might die soon. Then my heart starts racing. I have an overwhelming feeling of dread and fear. That lasts a few minutes. Then I have to distract myself from these thoughts by looking at my phone or reading a book, as there's no way I can sleep until I've got it off my mind. I don't know if panic attack is the right way to describe those fairly mild symptoms, because I've had a handful of full-on panic attacks, and this is nothing in comparison. I don't want to minimize what real panic attacks are like, but it feels like an appropriate description, unless there's a better word I should be using. So anyway, yeah, these aren't awful, but they're pretty regular, and they're definitely having an impact on me getting good enough sleep all the time. The second problem I'm facing is that 3 times in the last year, I've had the full-blown kind of panic attack. Same thought process triggering it, but these have all been during the daytime. These have ended up in me curled in the fetal position, struggling to breathe, completely overwhelmed. Twice it happened while driving, and I had to pull over in order to have a complete meltdown. So nowhere near as often, but it is a lot more debilitating. The grief I felt after losing my father and father-in-law has reduced over time. That felt totally unmanageable at first. It still hurts now, but it is a lot better. Is this panic about death also going to get better with time? If I'm totally honest with myself, if anything, this feels like it's getting worse and it scares me. Can you even get therapy to help with panicking about death? I don't really see how that would work. When I had therapy and we were talking about how I felt left out with my friends or how I struggled to get my needs met because I can't communicate my emotions, that made sense to talk about. I worry a therapist wouldn't know what to say about death. I'm sure you will suggest getting therapy, but I just don't see how it can help for this situation. I guess I'd just like some reassurance that a therapist could be helpful for this somehow. Thank you. Love the podcast. Signed, Sleepless in Seattle because of the death-based panic attacks.
Your therapist can help you with this. Go talk to your therapist. Next question.
Next question.
As a fellow atheist, I used to have this fear a lot. Fear of death. And it
That's
used to
why you
be
believe
something,
in God now?
No.
Until I gave my life back to Jesus
Yeah, back
Christ.
to Jesus.
Used to be something that really bothered me until I heard one thing, and I have not thought about it since.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ooh.
And it was a quote by Mark Twain, who'd said,
The rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated.
no.
You will rise
he
in
was
3
talking
days.
about being an atheist or not believing in God and death, and he said, and somebody had asked him once about non-existence, and like, doesn't that frighten you? And he said, I have not existed for over a millennia before I was born, and it didn't inconvenience me in the slightest.
I like that line.
And if you think about it, like, death is a lot like being stupid, where it's really only an inconvenience to the people around you.
Right?
Oh my God.
Because
Nick, that's good.
but it's like this is the one thing in life that you don't need to fear because you have already experienced it. You have experienced non-existence.
Right.
And you were fine.
Yeah, that's profound.
You know, and so it's like it's going to feel the same way on the other end as it did before.
That is a helpful way to think about it.
That's how I've always approached it. And then since then, I've just been like, yeah, I don't have that fear of what is that going to be like. My only fear is like, will I have gotten enough out of life before that happens? You know, you guys,
and
have
that's
you seen
why
the
he
movie?
accepted Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he learns French.
The movie, there's a movie, My Old Ass.
Oh my gosh, I had a client tell me she wanted me to watch that. It's on my list.
So I just watched it last night.
It looks very good. Like the preview for it looks really good.
Amazing.
Okay.
What's
it about?
Actually, the client that recommended that had OCD, like extreme OCD, which is what I'm going to talk about to this question in a minute. So that's interesting.
So Aubrey Plaza
Yeah.
plays the future self of this 18-year-old girl.
Okay.
So she lives in Canada. She's about to go away to college. Her and her friends go out. They go camping, and she gets high on mushrooms, has this experience where she meets her future self.
Okay.
And the two of them, and then so her future self has this idea, like, I'm going to put my cell phone number in your phone.
You can call me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and
great.
It works.
Oh, wow.
And so they can maintain contact and everything. And so it's really profound.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this idea of like, if you could go back and talk to yourself at 18, what would you tell yourself? And just, you know, the things that you think are very wise and how you could help your 18-year-old self. But like, I'm not going to give it away, but it's very it's kind of sad.
Okay.
It's a sad story. But it is an amazingly good movie.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's interesting you say that, Nick. Your biggest fear isn't death, but just have I accomplished what I want to? Because my perspective on that is that it won't matter because you'll be dead anyway. You won't really care if you accomplished anything.
No, it's what it is it's the last hour before I die.
So that's where
That's
I
the thing.
was going to say, I don't really fear death. Just like you said, like after I won't know. I'll just be gone. It's fine. Who gives a fuck? It's more like what's happening to kill me.
Yeah, right.
That's my biggest fear. Maybe that's what the writer's more so trying to say. I'm not sure, because they were like, oh, if the spikes are coming at you and you're like screaming, running, trying to get out. I read that and thought I would just build a wall. Avoidance Whitney here, maybe build a wall, and I'm going to live in ignorant bliss because I don't know how fast that thing's going to come through that wall. Yeah. I'll know in the last 5 minutes once it breaks the wall.
Blindfold myself, and it'll happen when it happens.
Not blind. Well, yeah, blindfold in the yeah, pretty much, because it's like we know it will happen, just like you said. But I get more scared. Like sometimes when I'm laying down at night, my like heart does this weird thing where it feels like it's beating slowly.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm like, is my heart stop beating? Like I get panicked a little bit. I'm like, am I dying right now? It's for like 2 seconds. I'm like, oh, I'm not. It's fine. But that is the scariest part to me. Like the awareness that I am dying, like in that moment. That's what scares me the most, I think. So.
Well, and I think a couple of notes on here, Sleepless. So first, whether you're an atheist or you're a person of faith, you're going through this.
Yep.
The reassurance that don't worry, the millennia existed before or didn't exist before wasn't an inconvenience. It is a profound thing to meditate upon. I can appreciate that a person still dreads and fears.
COVID proved this to me when I watched people who were atheists or believed
it
in
didn't matter.
Jesus. They were
nobody
still
wants
scared.
to die, it turns out. Yeah, it turns out nobody's really at peace with it for the most part. And like
that
the writer says,
to me.
the person who's not bothered in the slightest, they are the outlier. That's probably true. Most of us would like to not die and are fearful of it. And I think that that's an evolved response, right? Like as a species, for us to continue to survive, we had to be anxious little bunnies that were like looking for predators and trying to avoid them and avoiding
live as long as possible.
We were maximizing everything. And like that's exactly, the instinct that we have. And I think that this is also one of the things that really fascinates me about the idea of consciousness. And like I've been really doing a lot of research lately into like the new evolutions of AI and like some of the future of it and some of the unique breakthroughs they're reaching. Yeah. And just really the new question of like, at what point do we say that there's personhood? At what point is there consciousness? And what are the consequences of that as well? And like one of the things that I think is a hallmark of consciousness is the awareness of death. Like I think that the goldfish would like to not die. There is some kind of basic biological imperative to avoid harm and to avoid being eaten and pain and all that stuff. But I don't know that the fish lies awake at night understanding that the flame could one day be blown out.
Yeah.
And so like the light of consciousness, I think like the first fear of this little candle of consciousness that gets ignited in this dead, empty blackness of space is that it realizes everything is dead, cold, lifeless, and empty, and it doesn't want to go back to that, right? It's like it realizes what a fragile little candle it is and how quickly it will be snuffed out. And but the slightest of breezes would suffice to take it away. And I think that that's like a really profound fear. I remember Blaise Pascal wrote that in his book Pensies, something to the effect of like, man is but a reed, it takes but a vapor of water to kill him. And yet there is more nobility in us than in all of creation. And he's just like reflecting on like the chasm of like life and death and how we are always living in fear of it. And so every philosopher writes about this. Every theologian writes about this. It is the fundamental cornerstone of all religion. And even if you've escaped out of the religious world, as Sleepless is reflecting on, as Nick was reflecting on, it can still be a very haunting thing. And so I just want to validate that for you, writer, because I don't want you to feel like you are abnormal in that way.
Yeah.
You're among the majority. The second thing I would add to that is to echo what Jacob said right off the bat, which was, yes, therapy 100% deals with this.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's unfortunate that you hadn't already bumped into this because you've suffered with it for longer than I think you should have. So a lot of people think of therapy as a place.
How long do you think he should have suffered from this?
An appropriate amount is, days.
Like a while?
Days and weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not this long. I don't like this.
Just curious. Okay.
Because cognitive behavioral therapy lines up on this really, really well. And it's designed to sit down and take on, in this careful, nuanced, rational way, the overwhelming fear that we're having, to right size that fear. That yes, death is inevitable, right? So is aging, so is illness. These things are realities. And yet, like all inevitable realities, we also still have to function in the day-to-day, right? And so whenever our mind starts going through this loop, this spiral, that is the experience of mental illness that we call a panic attack. It's a dysfunction. It's not helping us survive, right? Lacking sleep, worrying about fictional things that haven't come to pass yet, even if they are inevitable, is not going to help you function in the now. And anything that's contrary to your functioning in the now is an illness, right? And so we want to push against that. So one of the first things I ever took on as a therapist, I remember doing this in my student internship. One of the first patients that I had real success with was a woman who had an existential fear of death. And so she was dealing with like really severe panic attacks, anxiety attacks. And I remember as a new therapist being so out of my depth.
I was just thinking, how did you work with that as a new therapist? Like, I would have been.
And I didn't even have CBT at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know how to help her.
Yeah.
I ended up going into narrative therapy because that was a new thing that I had been exploring at the time. And so I was really starting to work on like narrating and storytelling alike.
Have you read the book on love languages?
Yeah. First thing I did is I was like, let's talk about what's your sign.
Have you tried journaling?
Have you tried journaling about it? Have you tried diaphragmatic breathing?
When
fix it.
When the only tool you've got is a hammer.
Right.
Every
Everything's
problem's
a
a
nail. But no, we ended up doing a lot of
It's amazing how many problems hammers can fix.
Yeah. Swiss Army knife. So like we did a lot of externalizing where this patient ended up coming up with a name and an identity for that fearful voice and ended up coming up with this whole fictional character that resembled a hourglass. And it was constantly just pointing to the clock, right? The ticking clock and saying, another grain of sand has fallen, man. How many are left? Like, how much longer do you have? Are you getting everything done that you want to get done? Are you living the life you want to live? Are you ready for this? It's coming, And like realizing what a distraction in her life that was, how it was stealing away her marriage, it was stealing away her ability to work, her family time, her joy, her dreams, right? So preoccupied with something that will fundamentally happen in one actual second and sacrificing all the seconds on the way. And so she realized the metaphor of using every grain of sand fearful of the last. And what a waste that was.
Well, and it's also it's kind of a survival mechanism to not know, right? Like the ignorance is important. Like
if you did know, if you could watch it come toward you, that'd be terrifying.
Right. So like in this movie, I'm going to go back to the movie My Old Ass again because it's such a good movie. But like they bring up the point, and I've heard this analogy before, but
just hit different.
He was one of the characters was talking, to another character. Is like, do you remember like as a kid, did you ever like spend all day just playing make-believe with your friends, and that was your entire day, and you did that. Like, do you remember doing that as a kid? Yes. Like, okay, well, do you still do that now? No. And it's like, okay, so there was a day where you did that for the last time.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And like, had you known that was the last time you would ever do this, how big of an impact that would have on you. Or like, I've heard the other example, the way that I've heard it is like, there was a day where your parents picked you up for the last time.
Right.
Yeah. And like, but what we were able to move on from that because neither our parents nor us knew that was the last time that would ever happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like, if we constantly were looking at things as being the last time, how could you ever move on?
Right.
Like, and so it is kind of this survival mechanism that we have, this ignorance is kind of important for us to be able to live our lives and not count on every grain of sand.
Well, no, what you're saying is exactly part of the solution to this. I mean, not just the right sizing, not just using rational interventions, but fundamentally embracing, like, at all times, every human being on earth that has two eyeballs, at all times, right now, all four of us, you can see your nose right now. Not only if you cross your eyes, right now in binocular vision, looking across the table in any distance, your nose is always in your field of vision.
Yeah.
But it is not there. You do not see it until you want to see it, until you try to see it, until you take your finger and bring it slowly up to your face. Then it becomes apparent again.
Yeah,
and that is because your brain is taking that image away
something
from you.
only you people with little noses can do.
Yeah. That's a privilege.
I see my nose all the fucking time.
Check your privilege,
All right, I
Jim.
look around it.
I'm
like
Gonzo over here, fucking staring at this big blue schnoz. Get a dildo in my face.
I pay extra car insurance because I have to look around this thing.
So the point is, your brain deploys this intentional deletion of a fact. Your nose is as plain as the nose on your face. It is factually there at all times, but it is unhelpful for you to always see it. It will distract you from the things that are functionally useful for you to see. So your brain, without your cognitive permission, has edited this out of your field of vision for the purpose of increasing your function. So this goes back to Nick's point of this intentional blindness being a feature, being something humans have as a survival tool. One of the things I think consciousness has to evolve in order to successfully navigate the burden of existence, right? And I think sometimes like crippling depression and stuff like that is when a lot of times people start to see the game and they start to like zoom out and they see the matrix and they're like, oh shit, no, life is pointless. Like there is only despair. Nothing really matters. And you realize, and you try to talk to them about that and you're like, you're not wrong. And yet at some point, you have to get yourself back into the things that do matter subjectively, only to you. And there's value in that. And welcome back to the human experiment, right? We're all dealing with this razor's edge of balance between oblivion, nothingness, and pointlessness, and finding meaning in the now.
Yeah.
And I think fearing losing that meaning goes the other way on that razor's edge, where you become extremely anxious and there's a lot of panic. And there's nothing embarrassing or wrong about that, right? Like, I don't know if y'all were disciplined physically as kids. In my house, it was very
had
physical.
to pay extra.
You had to pay extra for that.
No, I'm a girl.
You got away with it. In our house, it was quite physical.
So, yes.
And Dad was a traveling salesman. So when I'd fuck up on like day 2 of Dad being gone for like a week. And at that point, the oath had been stated that, you know what, when Dad gets home, you're getting an ass whooping. And as a little kid, now you're thinking about that every single day. And at your emotional maturity level, it's like a cancer diagnosis. Like you cannot see past the day Dad gets home. You don't know how to think
Wonder
bigger
where
than
Jim's
that,
anxiety
right?
comes from.
It's a bad fucking feeling, yeah, right? It's starting to make some
like
sense.
checking out
Yeah,
a lot. Okay.
a lot of
In a
connecting
week,
dots.
Dad
right?
is going to come home, and at that point, he's going to give me cancer.
Right, that's what the brain is thinking. But like you've got to like appreciate that the spikes on the walls coming towards you, the anticipation is so much worse than the moment.
Yes.
And I think being a therapist, having patients that have had terminal cancer and walking with them every step of the way, right up to the finish line, right up to the bedside, there is a peace at the finish. Yeah. There is a point when they do have true acceptance. And I think a lot of the fear goes away in that moment, right? Because it's the anticipation that's the really profound thing. And there are ways to deal with that, even if that's a menacing thing. It's always over your head, right? Or I know you said you knew we were going to say go to therapy. go to therapy, work with this on an anxiety front. Cognitive behavioral therapy has a lot to do with this. Existential therapy is almost designed for this. Viktor Frankl, who survived the internship camps of World War II, he literally would ask...
Did you say internship?
Internment, thank you.
Okay.
No, it's not internment either.
Depends on what internship, Emma.
No, there were internment camps as well.
Internment camps
What is the
were
concentration camps?
Thank you. Concentration camps. But like he would ask his patients, why have you not killed yourself yet? You just walk up to his patients and ask that question.
Right.
And it was to fundamentally help them excavate and rediscover their meaning. What is the purpose of life? And that became his book, Man's Search for Meaning, right? And how he found that at death's door. Yeah. So facing death every single day, that man had to live in constant fear that it was a plausible reality that the man standing next to him would be shot in the back of the head in any given moment. And he wrote his whole book about how in the end of the day, he prevailed against that fear by finding meaning in every breath and every person having to do that for themselves. So there's so many different methods that we deploy sleepless against this. And also, if you haven't already, I would talk to your physician. Make sure that you're using all the tools available. When somebody's having debilitating panic attacks multiple times a year to the point where you cannot function, boy, do I think your doctor wants to hear about that.
Yeah.
I'll bet you they would love for you to have a medicine in your pocket. I would not be surprised if they offered that to you.
I like that acceptance. Fun fact, I'm a nervous flyer, even though I love travel. And it came kind of out of nowhere when I was a senior in high school. I was on a short flight from Dallas to Little Rock and was having a literal, anxiety attack on the plane. I was like, how are we even staying in the air? Things
It's
that I
metal.
know the answers.
This thing is so
we
heavy.
weigh so many tons. How are we flying?
It's like an elephant just fucking in the air.
I know. My little brain was not comprehending. So it was a whole thing. And after that, it even got to a point where I missed one of my cousin's weddings because I didn't get on the flight. I was so scared. And it came out of nowhere. I flew as a kid all the time. Didn't think twice about it. All's well till just this one day, and it shifted. And so even still to this day, I do get nervous when there's a lot of turbulence. And I literally have a mantra I just tell myself. And part of it does involve relaxing my whole body. I forcefully just take slow, deep breaths and kind of a mini body scan. And I make
muscle relaxation.
I make my whole body relax, even though I'm very nervous still. And my mantra is, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Yeah. And I'm out of control of that right now.
Right.
If the plane crashes, it crashes. It probably won't.
Right.
I do follow up with that.
I can't clench hard enough to prevent death in this airplane. Yeah.
So I just close
Not
my
with that
eyes.
attitude.
I know, maybe. So yeah, I think that it's a hard situation, and it's scary when we think about death could be facing us right then and there, or it might be really close. What if I have cancer right now? And so sometimes I just think that radical acceptance of, I might have cancer right now and I might die next week.
Right.
That
radical
is not
acceptance,
good.
a very powerful tool in the tool belt, often one that's harder to get to, a little bit more advanced.
It took time. I didn't do that right away.
Right now, Sleepless is using the distraction techniques, which is very level 1, and it's useful, and again, I think your doctor would love to hear about the insomnia. I think that they would like to help you forget about these problems and fall asleep and help biologically start that process for you. But yeah, that distraction's definitely a step. As much as I tease breathing exercises, but progressive muscle relaxation, the mind will follow the body a lot of times.
Yes.
And if you can get the body to do something first, the mind will just go with it.
That is my strategy. I'm my mind is out of control, so let me just start there. And it reduces.
Control.
It doesn't make it go away, but it reduces it quite a bit.
I think that's a great strategy. Radical acceptance takes a little bit further to get to, and that's always a profound day when somebody finds radical acceptance. They realize, I don't even need to sit down and cognitive behavioral therapy the problem anymore and hit pause and work through it methodically. I've just reached a place where if it happens, it happens. I'm at peace.
Right. And that's mainly flying because I really am. There's no control over that. If I'm laying in bed, I'm I could go to the doctor and see if I have cancer. There's things I could do to try and figure that out.
Which can become a problem, right? Because then people become hypervigilant.
Yes.
And then they're constantly what's this freckle? Another appointment.
Yes.
And that can rack up the medical bills in America anyway, and become a real problem too. So this is why this is absolutely something we have all treated, we have all dealt with. It is very, very common. Anxiety is a big part of what we do. Death anxiety, health anxiety, huge part of what we do in mental health.
Yeah.
So please look into getting some more support with that. You're very comfortable with mental health. We love that. you need to work on that. At the bare minimum, I'd want you to get like the Cognitive Behavioral Therapy workbook by Dr. Aaron Beck. Walkbook.
Jim's on a roll today.
Yeah. I need water. I'm such a dry mouth.
Jim's
right
going to start cooking in next
right.
is a walk.
On that note, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're talking about, was I in the wrong for missing a therapy appointment? If it was one of mine, fuck you, yes. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Byler, T. Harris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanrose, Hannah Marie, Emma Kane, and Myra. And if you want to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. All right.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Whitney, you are up.
Yay.
I can be president of the United States, or I can control Alice. I can't possibly do both. Which president said this about his wild, spotlight-loving daughter?
I mean, options.
I love this, though. I don't
know
know who
any
it
of
is,
these.
but I think this is
I
great.
recognize this, but I can't remember who it is yet.
Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, or Grover Cleveland?
Grover Cleveland.
Good shot for it. I like that.
Yeah.
Going for the least.
Go for it.
No.
Damn it.
Damn.
Jimmy?
Is it coming over here?
It does. It goes over there.
It rotates the same way every time.
Every time.
Well,
I looked
historically,
at
we
Jacob
rotate
too.
the
I'm
other
like,
direction. Right. I give me. Oh, shit. I know Theodore Roosevelt had a daughter, but there's no way that man would say he couldn't control something. It seems like a charming statement. FDR was very charming. Give me FDR.
No.
Shit.
Teddy Roosevelt.
It was Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
For context, Alice Roosevelt once smoked cigars, kept a pet snake in the White House, and interrupted cabinet meetings. Basically, she was the first influencer.
Nice.
TR had no shot.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, Jim. If I were two-faced, I would be wearing this one.
Okay.
If I were two-faced, I would be wearing this one.
I'll take options.
Which president dropped this self-deprecating zinger after being called ugly?
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. You want options?
I do.
Was it Donald Trump,
Yeah.
John Adams, Abraham Lincoln, or Andrew Jackson?
Give me Lincoln.
It was Lincoln.
Yeah.
Famously ugly.
Yeah, and famously self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
What
fair.
was that line
Yeah.
he said? I'd rather be silent and be thought stupid than open my mouth and confirm it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Prove him right. Something like that.
Jacob,
Yes, Nick.
when the president does it, it means it is not legal.
Here we go.
Not illegal.
Richard Nixon.
Sorry.
Middle name.
Richard M. The M stood for...
Is it Melvin?
Martin.
No. Think Simpsons.
Yeah, it's like...
Martin. Wait, you just say Martin?
What
You
was,
said
yeah,
Melvin.
what's that boy's name?
I thought Martin
Melvin,
was his buddy.
Munson,
Melvin.
It's like...
Samsonite.
It's like
I was
Mildred or
way
something.
off.
No,
Oh.
you're right.
Millhouse.
That's
Oh.
it. Yeah.
Yes. And yes, it was Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
Millhouse.
Very good. Very
Wow,
good,
2
very good.
points.
Famously said it in his Frost Nixon interview.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
I'm not a crook.
I'm pretty sure that's where he
All
said
right.
that.
So Nick's still in first. Jacob's a strong second place at this point.
I got a
Sounds
half a
good.
point, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
If I
You
scraped
and
it off
I
the
are-
floor. Still
Tied
there.
for third.
Yeah.
All right. Was I in the wrong for missing a therapy appointment? Hey, Pod Therapy crew. I'm a male, he, him pronouns. In my 40s, I went to a therapist hoping to find someone who could use EMDR to help me with childhood trauma. I got along fine with her at first, though after 2 attempts at EMDR, she claimed it wouldn't work for me.
All right, you said it twice. What's EMDR?
Eye movement desensitization reprocessing.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Feels right. She also suggested inner child work would be a good idea, but gave that up after 1 session. About 8 or 9 sessions in, I confused an appointment time and showed up at noon instead of 9 a.m. When she came out of her office and saw me, she didn't ask how I was doing. She didn't check to see why I missed the appointment. Rather, in a very condescending tone, she told me, "Hello, name. You missed your appointment at 9 a.m., and I had to charge you $75 for the missed appointment fee." At that point, I didn't even know I had missed my appointment, as I thought it was at noon. I was very taken aback by the authoritarian tone she used. I told her I thought the appointment was at noon, and she again repeated herself and spoke to me as though I were a child. I felt like she was using shame and guilt to imply I was in the wrong. She never asked why I thought it was at noon or where the confusion arose. Coming from trauma, like she knew I had, I was in a freeze mode and couldn't verbally express anything. It took me several minutes of her scolding me and then asking me when we should schedule our next appointment before I could speak up to ask her to double check with her appointment scheduler/reminder company. I could not find a text in my phone for the appointment reminder, which I normally receive a day before, as I wanted to make sure that I didn't get it wrong. She said she would call them later, but that now she had a client that she was waiting for. I left her office very flustered and upset. Later that day, I texted and asked if she had called her scheduling company yet. She only reiterated what she had said earlier, that a reminder text would have gone out 24 hours in advance for a 9 a.m. appointment, and she hadn't had time to call. I asked if she would be willing to waive the $75, since I did show up, though at the wrong time, hadn't missed any weeks so far, and didn't get the reminder text. After radio silence for 5 days, I texted again. She then responded via text, reiterating that we had the appointment at 9, that I missed the appointment, and she wouldn't be able to refund the money for me, because if she did, then she would have to do it for everyone. A very binary thought process, in my opinion. She then calls me after the text and reprimands me for even asking for the $75, and that we won't be having any sessions after this. Jesus fucking Christ.
Whoa.
She proceeds to tell me
That last one is kind of the nuclear thing
yeah,
there.
what the fuck?
Like, fine, you're not going to get the $75 back.
All right.
But, like, I wouldn't expect somebody to, like, cancel treatment because of this.
She proceeds to tell me that she is a professional and this is a business, which is just very demeaning in itself, as if I didn't understand these simple concepts. She goes on to tell me she doesn't normally start her day at 9 a.m., but she was doing me a favor and I didn't even show up. Why is this my responsibility to know when her day starts? Am I supposed to be groveling and extra grateful that she has done this favor for me that I didn't even ask for or know that she was putting out to do? She told me that since I'm using an EAP program, she is only working for $65 an hour when she normally works for $120 an hour, and was trying to help me out. Has there been enough shame and guilt heaped on me yet? She repeatedly implied that I was upset about the $75, which I was not, and I told her as much multiple times. She continued to try and gaslight me by telling me over and over I was upset over the money. It was the tone, the guilt, the shame, and the superior attitude she took that left me so distraught. I am, of course, very upset about being spoken to like this. I was raised with a covert narcissistic parent. I understand gaslighting. I understand how to read a person's emotions. I understand when someone is using shame and guilt to manipulate. I understand when I'm being spoken down to. After telling her that I felt like I was attacked, she says, "You're a grown adult," and again reprimands me for missing the appointment. This sudden grown adult reversal is also surprising, since she has been telling me in session that I am not an adult for the last 8 weeks. She clearly sees herself as the adult in the room, and I am the child. For context, this is my third therapist experience. The other two were not very successful either. Briefly, the first one was out of pocket with BetterHelp, and I met with the therapist once before they said they were no longer going to do therapy on the platform. The second was also out of pocket, and she said she specialized in religious trauma, but when I brought up somewhat that polarizing topic, she was so strongly opinionated and argumentative toward me over something I considered nuanced. After all of that, I guess my questions are, number one, what would you all do for a cancellation refund protocol in a situation where a client shows up for their appointment same day, but at the wrong time? Was it wrong for me to ask for a refund? 2, is it possible that these therapists are seeing something in me that is diagnosable and turning them away from working with me? I'm starting to wonder if I'm actually Bob Wiley. Number 3, what should I do differently when looking for a therapist in the future? I'm feeling deflated, and that maybe just meditating and exercise would be better than trying another therapist, as this seems to have kept me afloat up until now. I've also considered seeking out a male therapist if I were to try again, as a lot of my childhood emotional trauma comes from my father. What are your thoughts on seeking a specific gendered therapist? Any other thoughts are welcome, and thank you for taking the time to read my question. Anonymous. Well, that's all the time we got for this week's session. Oh, that would have been such a good move. Oh, it would have been so fun. Yeah, fuck you. I would have accepted this question hours ago, but not now. Yeah. We got shit to do.
Mm-hmm. What is your refund or like not refund but cancellation policy?
I know a lot of therapists are really bullish about it, and there's a lot of talk in the threads with like, you are worth it, stand on your value, stand on your worth. And I get it. Like, I understand that, you know, we tend to get buffaloed over. Like, we're an empathic breed, right?
Yeah.
For me, I prize the therapeutic alliance above everything else.
Oh my gosh, same.
I do not want that fee. A, if it's going to cause harm, because there's that whole fucking thing, like never do that. But B, I'm thinking long term. Like, you're a regular patient of mine. It's fine. I'll get it back.
Yeah.
Also, like, and again, this person, that therapist sounds like they're tight on money. I don't want to, you know, like disqualify that or minimize that. But how they handled that is nowhere near me. Like, on paper, my rule is like, hey, I reserve the right to pop you. Like, if you're not going to do this, I could bill you for the late session. This is how it works.
Right.
But when somebody misses on mine, my shit's tight. Like, I'm getting reminders are going out, emails and texts are going out.
Yeah.
I'm texting them. I'm calling them.
Yeah.
This bitch walked out there at 9:15, didn't see her patient, and didn't fucking call.
That was my thought. You didn't send a text. Where you at?
Yeah.
Like,
I text because I'm anxious.
Yes.
If my patient's sort of, are you okay? Are you mad at me? Like, they have to calm me down.
I'll
like,
be
Jim, calm down. I'm on my way.
I'll be an advocate for the therapist for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is, it makes me, it not always, it can make me insane when this happens to me. If someone misses an appointment with me, it can really bother me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fair.
And like,
Yeah.
and sometimes, like in the case of this therapist, it sounds like, hey, you know, I moved shit around in my day to get myself here.
Yeah.
And then you blew me off. Like, that makes me mad.
It does.
That really does
suck.
make me mad.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that it's in your contract, your something or another, the $75 thing and everything. Also, I don't know how upset you can get at the therapist for saying that you were upset about the late fee when you asked it to be refunded. So, like, you're clearly upset to some degree.
Yeah,
but you're
they are
upset enough to
acknowledging that.
ask for a refund.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's something there that I want to push back on you a little bit with there.
Sure.
That being said, if this is how it all went down,
It's a big reaction.
that's a lot of reaction.
Well, and then calling you back and being like, and another thing, you're fired. I won't see you anymore.
Yeah.
Because of an accident.
Yeah.
And because you honestly asked the follow-up question.
Right.
Which everybody asks.
Sure.
And the not responding for like almost a week. I'm like,
That's just
hello?
weird.
Like,
The whole
I don't
process
know.
is really weird. Like,
Yeah.
for me, if you miss, number one, I'm going to try to reach out to you right away and find out if you're okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Two, and I've had people just have shitty excuses. I've had people that just missed.
Sure.
I've messaged them, hey, are you okay? Can't get a hold of you. Hey, when you see these messages, please check in. I just need to know you're okay. And I'll sometimes give them that polite nudge of like, I do have a responsibility to protect you if you're in danger. And
Right.
like, that's usually the wake up call of like, don't fuck around and find out whenever I send a wellness officer.
Yeah.
Like, I need to know you're okay. Like, don't ghost me, right?
That's
Yeah.
fair.
And so, like, you know, which I'm not gonna do, but it's like a gentle nudge of being like, I'm not the person you ghost. Like,
Yeah.
you need to let me know that you're okay, man. Like, I do have responsibilities. So, like, but I'm not charging their card.
Right.
Like,
Right.
not at that time at all. We are just focused on, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then later, whenever I find out, like, what happened, and I've had some people with shitty excuses where they're like, I'm sorry, dude, I was so hungover.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. Or like, oh, I just forgot. Like,
Yeah.
they're just kind of
You
a,
as the therapist say that to your.
yeah. I tell them I'm so hungover.
That's his
Dude,
excuse.
yeah,
I'm so sorry,
they,
man.
they missed for dumb reasons that are not good reasons.
Yeah.
They're not honest reasons
Yeah.
or whatever. And in those situations, my general pattern is I will tell them, okay, and then I'll say, look, I totally get it. Life happens. I'm definitely here to take away stress, not to cause stress.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I do want to let you know, like, this is your freebie. Like,
I
the
do the
first time I'll
same
do it, I'll
thing.
be
I
like,
give
this
one
one's off the book,
freebie,
no
yes.
worries. But the policy does have to be this. And the reason it's like that, Whitney, is because a lot of people need help. And if you block that spot, every morning I get texts from people that say, if the first opening you have, please let me know. I need a time today. And brother, I couldn't help them because you took that spot.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we got to be courteous to the rest of humanity, man.
And-
There's a lot of hurting people.
And if I mean, I assumed that $75. You said a lot of numbers in the letter there. I'm assuming that $75 was not the regular.
Yeah,
fee.
that was her cancel fee.
That was the cancel
Yeah.
fee, and not the full fee.
Well, I think that's the EAP. Like she's
It sounds
taking
like
less
it's similar.
Right. It's something
for
going
that
on there.
appointment. Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, it does. I don't know.
I give him a warning shot. I give him a warning
I agree.
shot, and I also prioritize the relationship, and I sure as fuck don't do this shame shit where it's like, how dare you disrespect my time? Like, and Jacob's
charged
right.
your card.
I have been plenty pissed, my man. Like, it's been a lot better since I do telehealth, because if you blow me off and you don't show up for telehealth, cool, I'm going to go walk my dog.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Like,
I get a break.
20 minutes in, I'm like, this isn't going to happen. I'm going to go walk my dog. Back whenever I used to show up in an office,
lose money
I'm
for
just
that.
sitting there. Yeah, there is a loss of
lose
income.
money.
But like that's part of the gig. Like being a private practice therapist, you have like just that's part of your budget. Like you're thinking about that happening. It is a bummer, and I've definitely had a lot of days to underscore your point, Jacob, where I've been fucking furious because it's like a predictable one where they're kind of sloppy. They've done this again. I totally did something special, got there early, stayed late for them, missed dinner with my family because they said they needed the 6 o'clock, and I was working in the office.
And by the way, that all of those things, those aren't the patient's business.
Right.
Like, oh, I moved my life around to accommodate you, but I did that. I'm going to take responsibility for the thing that I did.
That's the
which
point
was
I was going to
moved
make.
my life around.
I was going to say I emotionally feel like the therapist may have felt, but part of the professionalism, you keep that shit to yourself, because you are somebody's healthcare provider.
Yes.
So
it's not about dumping your shit on them.
Yes.
There's two. I see this playing out two different ways. One is it went down exactly as the writer had described it.
Okay.
And this professional, this therapist was very unprofessional.
Right.
Two, and writer, I'm not accusing, but I'm saying there could be a possibility.
Saying with love
that there was more to this, because the therapist's behavior makes perfect sense in the context that this was the final fucking straw.
Right.
Because I've been there with some of my patients before, especially like in like rehabs and
This
stuff.
doesn't feel like a first time.
Where like
problem.
but like I can think of examples before where I've had patients that really kind of start rubbing me the wrong way and start like accusing me of shit, like oh, you're supposed to be helping me, or you're just doing this for the money, you don't even care about me, this is blah 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 blah.
Like,
and then finally I get to the point like, look, motherfucker, like here's the thing,
Let me
I'm
open
a
up a
fucking
bank app
social
on my
worker,
phone.
all right, I'm fucking starving, all right.
If I'm
So
doing
I'll
this
have
for the
you
money,
know.
I'm doing a bad job at it.
I'll have you know.
There's a GoFundMe for a microwave
okay.
right now. Okay. All right, you chill the fuck out.
And now that I've got a new microwave, you know what I have to do now? I have to buy Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And like
I can't steal my neighbors.
I have to shut off all the lights in my house to run that microwave.
I remember one of my mentors was telling me a story about a patient that he had that he just got really frustrated with because he was doing, private practice therapy, and for this one patient who was a lawyer. And this lawyer, he just had a shitty attitude towards him. And like at one point he just kind of had enough of it, because the lawyer's like, yeah, I'm paying you $100 an hour and you're not doing shit. And, this is such a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. And then, he kind of explained how he handled it in a very solution focused way. And he was just kind of like, hey, look, I understand you're paying me $100 an hour. You feel like you're not getting anything. It's not just the money you're paying me, but you can't charge your clients who you're working with, who I assume you're charging $200 an hour for. So you're out $300 an hour. Like, so just kind of a little jab. But like there are times like we as therapists kind of at some point get a little bit frustrated and kind of feel like, all right, look, we're done now. Like I've done it. Yeah. Now, so again, writer, I don't know if that's the case. It is also very possible that this person was just very unprofessional.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one.
I know. I like the Bob Wiley reference.
Yeah.
From What About Bob?
Yeah. Now, so I'm kind of with the two of you. Like I don't do private practice or clinical work anymore, but like even with my personal training folks, like when they don't show up, like the manager at the gym's like, hey, you can still charge them for that session. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's more important to me that we have a working relationship.
Yeah.
And if that working relationship is coming to an end because they are disrespecting you, because they are not showing up, there's a proper way to end that. And that's not what this therapist did.
Yeah.
I've had people that it's not working out, right? I've had people disrespect my time. I've had people be unprofessional to me. And I still keep my shit buttoned up. I don't tell them how they make me feel.
Right.
I don't tell them they need to be.
I usually charge this
how
much.
How dare you? No, and I've told them like, hey, if I know I'm going to let go of them, I am not going to charge them.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I've even not charged last session to terminate because I want you to walk out feeling like at least you got away with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to feel like go out and write me a bad review or whatever, take out your vengeance, like talk shit.
Yeah.
I hope that you still look back and go, Jim and I weren't a good match, but like he's a nice enough guy. He tried.
Right.
And like that's the vibe I try to send them the whole time is like, hey, here's my thoughts. Here's why I think that maybe I'm not a good fit, or maybe right now therapy's not a great use of your time and money in life because I think we're struggling to get here.
Yeah.
And like as you know, like I do have other people that literally today could be the day they need me to save their life.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure. And like usually if I frame it that way, they're like, yeah, I get it. You're right. I haven't been showing up, man. It's like, but listen, I have another therapist I want to recommend to you, or a group I think you should try. And like, ethically, that's the proper procedure. Like, if you're going to terminate, it's got to be termination with recommendations and referrals.
Yes.
You have to send them forward. You can't just do what this bitch did and be like, hey, I'm mad at you. You're not an adult. You owe me $75. You're stupid. You're bad at like calendaring.
You're a grown
things.
man.
You're not even being an adult. And you know what else? Go find another fucking therapist. Like, in Nevada, it's written in our laws that you cannot do that.
Yeah.
Like, termination procedures are a big part of ethics.
Yeah. No, for me, I do a lot of what you said when it comes to what, like with cancellations, I usually because they sign the papers that say if you miss a session, we'll still charge you. What I run into with insurance is I will have usually young clients. They don't understand if they miss a session. They're like, oh, but just go ahead and still charge it as a session to my insurance. And I'm like,
no,
I can't do that. That's fraud.
Yeah.
It's like, so I tell them, hey, I know that things happen. I say the exact same thing. I'm not going to charge this time, but in the future, I do have to charge the full price, and I go find what that price is for the insurance because every insurance is different.
This is the real number, yeah.
This is how much it is. It's $120, and I do have to charge your card the full $120, not the copay.
Right.
And so I make that clear to them, or if it's out of pocket, it's this much. So in the future, just try and let me know at least 24 hours before, just a reminder. And honestly, I've almost never had a problem with, like, very rarely, and to the point where if someone even is sick, they're like, hey, I can't make it in tonight for my session. I'm sick. I understand you'll have to charge my card. Like, they preface
a lot of times. Yeah.
Because they're like, I get it.
Which is a big part of this too. Like being super upfront about it, walking people through it. But this is also why the warning shot is so important.
Yes.
Because
I gave you that freebie.
Yes. If Ryder had been sat down in the next session and be like, hey man, let's look at where things went wrong. So you thought it was 9 a.m. That sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, or you thought it was noon. Okay. Like,
can we
problem
reschedule?
solve.
Problem solving.
And then say, so here's how this is going to have to happen in the future. Even if a mistake happens, which is, look, and I don't know how I feel about that, Whitney, because like this person, where's the receipts? Like,
Where
I've
are the
had
receipts?
situations, like I use Square to do all my appointmenting. And like, I've had people, a lot of times I know they're wrong and they'll say, oh my God, I thought it was 11 a.m. And I'll say, oh my God. And I'll say to them something like, oh no, you know what? Can you please go back and double check that reminder and maybe screenshot it for me? I've heard sometimes that it sends the wrong time. And oh my God, if it's doing that again, I need to know right away so I can fix it.
Yeah.
And then they look at it.
They're like,
and I know that what they're going to see. And they go, fuck, I was wrong. And they write me back and they're like, oh,
Never
Jim,
mind.
it was me. It said 11. I just saw the 1 and thought 1 p.m.
Yeah.
That's my fault. I meant to click 1 p.m. at the calendar. I must have clicked 11 by... That's on me. And I'll be, okay. And I'm always very friendly about it. Oh my God. I'm just relieved to hear my system's not broken because that would have sucked.
Yes.
But hey, no big deal. But again, like we're keeping it friendly. It's upbeat, no shame, no guilt. But there is also that, shoot, man, I know you didn't mean it, right? And always letting them know, like, I know you're not a bad guy. I know it was an accident. I get it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And this one we're going to have a pass on. If it ever happens again though, we might have to deal with that. But like, let's not worry about that. Let's just focus on the now. And like very quickly repair the relationship. What this lady did is called a rupture.
Yeah, so bad. So I have a question. The question too, like, is a therapist, are these therapists seeing something in me that is diagnosable? Have you ever had a client where within a few sessions you can pick out, like they don't have any previous like official diagnoses or anything.
Right.
They're just coming because they're stressed, they're, dysfunctional, whatever, in their life in some way. Or just trying to work through childhood trauma, and you pick up on something else like a personality disorder.
Right.
Do you pick up on that quickly, and how do you manage it if you do?
I'll tell you, I don't bring them up.
Yeah.
So when I see BPD or narcissistic or if it's OCD type or schizotype, like obviously you see that shit from space. Like,
Right.
And it also, why bring it up? Because they clearly know they also have other fucking problems.
know.
Like you don't need to say it might be personalities or like, thanks, Dick.
Yeah.
Like, I was already really struggling. Like I don't know why you'd take it that far.
Yeah.
So like I don't bring it up. Sometimes I will see it and start to observe like and then you dig deeper and then they might say like, oh, somebody once upon a time told me I had this. But sometimes it's like, yeah, I've seen other people. It hasn't worked out. So like a lot of times with BPD, there is this, I love you, get away from me. And so sometimes they'll tell you like, I've been through 5 therapists. It didn't work out. And then they'll tell you like what patterns they noticed. They all betrayed me. They pretended like they were real. They were there for me. And then and then you realize like, oh, they corrected you or they challenged you. And then you put the pieces together. So like I always try to play detective from that and learn from it.
Yeah.
And just figure out like, regardless if you're in the right or the wrong, I'm realizing what works and doesn't work for you. And so I'm just going to try to avoid those landmines. But
Sure.
what do you do in that situation?
Yeah, I think my perspective is if I start picking up on that and I feel like maybe I'm in over my head, I would probably start trying to refer to somebody who does work more with personality disorders. And that can be tough. It depends on how you bring that up, or, especially BPD is what I kind of go to as well. Narcissism, I kind of feel a little more comfortable navigating, maybe just because I know people like personally, I guess, that struggle with that. And it's kind of interesting to me. So I'd probably navigate that. But I don't want to do more harm than good. So if I don't feel like I'm the best help, then I'm like, I'll refer out.
Right.
And what about the gender, like seeking out a specific gender for a therapist?
Oh, yeah, we've talked about this before, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that. I think that's super duper common. I think that like it's very, very common for people to say like, I know I won't work well with this gender. And like in writer's case to say like, I've struggled with men. Maybe I ought to visit with a man.
Yeah.
I get that a lot. Like a lot of people.
I kind of was wondering what your thoughts were as
common.
a dude therapist.
And I'll ask them, like, oh, who referred you to me or how'd you find me? And usually that's their chance at some point to say like, yeah, here's why I picked you. And it'll be like, I've struggled with men or whatever. And like, I had a feeling that it might be good for me to have a therapeutic relationship with somebody who's actively just nurturing and like not out to hurt me because I naturally have a lot of fear of you or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a big fan of that. Like, I think that is a profound thing. I definitely want to know. Like, I don't like finding out 10 sessions in that it's like, oh yeah, here's my bag of baggage. And like, I never told you, but that's why I threw the dice on a male, is because I think that I had special healing to do. I want to know that up front so I can maximize how I'm being at you, right? Because if I'm coming at you way too like this or that, I'm thinking, oh, you want like a PE coach kind of energy. And then it turns out like, no, I needed you to really be nurturing and like fatherly.
Yeah.
I totally have that move. Like, tell me please, so that I can make sure I don't replicate any bullshit you've ever been through.
Right.
So as long as you're announcing it, I like that
That's
a lot.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's also hard to find us. I mean, like we're 20% of the population.
I know. That's what I thought reading through that as well. And for women at times, if there's trauma involved regarding men, that's really common. But I was curious from the male perspective. I thought that was kind of different. But
yeah, I definitely, when people come, they tell me like I chose a man on purpose. I usually get one of 3 reasons. The most common one is I've had some toxic males in my life, and I think it'd probably be good for me to have somebody to talk through with that who resembles them in some ways. And like, I think that'll be an interesting stretch emotionally. So that one's really common. Another one is there's a stereotype that men are like coaching and more straightforward, and that women will be more nurturing and lovey and like empathic and just like same girl, same, but like not tell you what to do, which is, I always think like, I don't like that stereotype. I'm like, oh really? Cause like, okay.
You're all same girl, same.
Yeah. Like, and I'm like same girl, same, but when I say it in a masculine voice, like I'm a few octaves lower, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I like Jimmy's really directive. I'm like, I didn't say shit. Like, okay. So like, sometimes it's that, and they're just like, no, I just really want, like a man to tell me what's up. And I'm like, okay. But like, you could tell any therapist of any gender, I want you to be quite directive with me. I thrive on that. And like, we'll hear you and go, great. Like, I just need to know that that's what you want.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't want that, it's not like I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to be strategic about where I
Yes.
deploy interventions.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
because
always
that
looking
therapeutic
for it.
relationship is so
Of
important.
course,
You're like,
gotta
let me
build
try
that
and connect
first.
with you.
Yes, and then we're going to use that.
Yeah.
And so I hear it like as I have trauma with this, sometimes it's like there's something about masculinity that I favor in the situation. I want that. And then the third one is sometimes people just telling me I get along better with men.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of women that will say, I picked you because I get along better with men. Like I
Oh,
do. I have a
gotcha.
lot of guy friends. We get along famously. For whatever reason on sensitive topics with women, or like they are doing something that they're afraid a woman would judge them for. So like they're cheating, and they're
Yeah.
like, I don't want to tell a girl this. Like
Yeah.
she's going to be cool with me, but secretly not like me.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like you don't care. And I'm like, all right, I'm a little offended.
Yeah.
'Cause,
How
like,
dare you?
I can think you're a slut.
I know, right? And I do.
I do. But yeah. So Ryder, I love these questions, man. I think you're on the right side of this issue. I don't want to favor that there's something wrong with you. I don't think that's the case. I don't like how this therapist handled any of this. It is
No.
yucky. And I love the idea of you getting back on the horse when you're ready. I also love the idea of you sticking to meditation and exercise too. I love the idea of self-care and doing a self-program. I think there's a lot of value to that. If you've never found group therapy, I think you'd probably really benefit
That's
from
a
that.
really good point.
I love that kind of collaboration, right? And like getting that feedback from other people. And like just, I really think that's nice because then you're getting like 10 perspectives in the room.
That's a really good
And it
point,
sounds like the
yeah.
writer's kind of like, ugh,
Like, who's right and wrong here?
right. And the writer's like doing a lot of second guessing and like, it's kind of like, oh, what does the back of my head look like kind of fears. Like,
Yeah.
okay, great. Put yourself in a room with 10 other people working on themselves. Learn to give feedback to others. Learn to receive it. And walk out of that room feeling like, wow, we all did some work today. And like, that's really good for you too.
That's a great point.
Could be
I
a
like
really
that.
fun thing, Ryder. Anyway, as we get to the end of the show, we owe everybody a thank you from last week. So we're going to take a beat here to run through the theropods,
Forgot about
pterodactyls, and we've got some new theraproducers. We've got some new therapartners. We've got a lot of people who have been showing us a lot of love at patreon.com/therapy for Mental Health Awareness Month. People are editing their memberships and just doing everything they can. And that was before I told them about the Pony Up for Mental Health campaign. So I don't know why we let that fucking horse in here, though. I feel like that is just not appropriate.
Yeah, it's
I
not
mean, it
good.
should be a pony.
It should be a pony.
Should be.
So a lot of people to thank, starting off with the Dark Lord himself, Jim Sfasha, University Jeff, Robert Paulson, Richard Bruins, Linda Brandmeier, Scoopstronaut, Joseph Pangrazio, Corey Owens, Christine Phillips, Gavin Bristow, Carrie Terhart, Kiwi Fruit Scoop, Take It Easy Podcast, James K., Craig Little, Don Dorr, Jim Hunter, Scoopatron, Todd Canfield, Felicia Butler, David Sorensen, Shayla Bullock, Lauren Izzo, Katie Chiwakowski, Adam Petanuzzo, Mats Lenegren, Scoopator Ascending, Lee Popsicle, Ian Soto, Jessica Cyphers, That Josh Guy, Mama Ninja Scoop, James Dawson, Sarah Olo, Grumpy, Lake Mead Park Ranger, Sam Buck, Karen McCulloch, What Weekend, Lila, Be Gay, Do Crimes, Kelly Gagner, Nippy, Brian Emra, Matthew Johnson, Alec Lancaster, J.D. Congan, A Literal Pickle, Julius Capel, Matthias Vandebrandt, Max the Ginger Scoop, Ken Tinsley, Protect and Scoop, Smells Funny, Matthew Cubic, Chad the Safety Lad, Walker Fluke, Stacy, Philip Guyton, Tim Mystery, Almost Doctor, Nurse Joey, Duffy the Slowly Getting There Therapist Bear, Joel McMillan, Christopher DeGursey, Kirka Grimm, Trisha Ortiz, Chris Conway, Melissa L. Geisler, Kirsten Johnson, DJ Seward, Mississippi Hippie, Lisa Scott A., Freya Lawson, Patty Glad, Fifi, Heather W., Kyle, Todd V., Anthony Camarada, David Williams, Kate Police, Trontastic, Buddy Dobbins, Eric Dyer, Glitch Scoop, Nathan Mookie, Alita Belays, Bug Nuts, Stephen Landon, Adam Balaz, Kenneth Wong, John Finlayson, Mysterious Annalid, KJ, Carmen Perry, Mr. Poth, K. Pizzle Dizzle, Robert Cole, Temporary Reality, Jeff Darnell, Persephone Hazard, Jamibi, Jacob Hertz, Incitium, Ray J. Shark, Recreated, Silka Daniels, What Does Scoop Mean, Jenny Rose, Jacob Billingsley, Alex Jardine, Across the Croissant, Dylan Colopy, Wolfie05, Ben Sherman. Hey, Wolfie was in town, by the way. Posted some really cool photos on Vegas, or on the Discord. She was at the Luxor.
Oh, cool.
Ben Sherman, Chris Courtney, Dale the King, Riley, Adam Goff, Cedar Hayden, Nora Monaco, Sherry Hare, Jesse Miller, Livy, Kevin Tribe, Grace, Linus Hakkasan, Terrible Tay, Acrylicurve, Itty Bitty Chicken Farmer, Sam, Yagan Keeley, John Caravadas, Kay Mathis, Zach Zachary W., Chill Food, Fish Bum Fish, J.W. Reynolds, Michael F., B.J. Palazzo Low, Foxy Sally, Ty Evans, Winter Scoop, Neck Pubes, Matthew Connor, and John S.
And the Pterodactyls, Ice Blue, Scoop, Brian Lehman, Scoop Brady, Andrea Anderson, Frozen Cusser, Lori Ellsroth, Cy Shonagon, Scoopy Just, Okie Scoop, Dank Butta, Brooks Lyle, Adam Ribchik, Lovely Spark, Mr. V, Jim and Manu, the offices of Counselor and Counselor, Manuel Cavazos, Chad Mag, BB Hermit, Momi Damate, and RT.
Nice.
And we got 2 new therapy producers, Polygon and BB Hermit.
Woohoo, man.
Great
Tons
job,
of
Nick.
people. Loving it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Reading off those names, Nick. Good job.
Thank you.
Where did Chick-fil-A go? Come
So
back.
here's the thing. We need to figure this out because Patreon, their fucking thing sucks.
They do.
It's going to get more complicated with the year-log stuff, too.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
So
I see what you were texting
Yes.
about. Yep, I see it now, too. Okay.
So we got to go through and figure out where everyone is. And if we've been missing your name, I sincerely
Email Nick
apologize.
directly.
We will try to figure that out. And we'll have to get this figured out. It's a mess.
And if your name is being missed, and especially if
Message
it
us.
bothers you,
Yes.
let us know.
Yes,
we
please.
want them in
Please
here.
let us know.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to claim every name.
If you feel like you'll be bothering somebody by letting us know that your name is being missed,
You're
you
not.
won't be.
No.
You won't be bothering anybody at all.
Great point, Jake.
And just let us know and help us out because it is tough to kind of keep track of all these names.
You can message us through Patreon. You can email us, podtherapyguys@gmail.com. If you did not hear your name and you're like, I'm pretty sure I'm sponsoring you guys, let us know. We will absolutely fix that in the next
Find
script.
Nick on Instagram, DM him.
Yeah.
Slide on into his DMs.
You want to just send a tasteful dick pic, and that's usually the
helps
signal.
bring
That
awareness.
then he'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hello, how
Well,
can
it's
I
an
help
attention
you?"
getter.
Yeah, it's the buzzer.
Real eye
It's how
grabber.
you get the attention. Yeah.
It's how you digitally say, "Hey, Nick, over here."
Yeah, and then he'll be
But
like,
Nick
"How can
gets
I
so
help
many.
you?"
Right.
Yeah,
hard to
yeah.
I mean,
filter.
he pays attention to a lot of people.
You should probably write a number on the dick pic. Magic marker.
what you need
style.
to do is get your penis tattooed.
Yeah.
Write your message on a penis.
On
Take
the
a
penis.
picture of it
There
and
it
send
is.
me a picture
There
of
it
it.
is. We only accept help tickets in the form of a penis.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. If you people start just getting pictures
Oh my
of dicks and like zoomed in so it fills up the whole screen and then Photoshop just words onto the penis and send those to Nick Tangeman,
That's how we accept letters now.
I would be so happy.
Make sure it starts off with a code. The code is MS13.
Venezuelan citizen. Thera partners, we want to thank the benevolent, revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much they give till it hurts, Dirty B and Pickett. And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of our fan club, the Thera producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Myra, Rubber Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Malia, Leon Kassab, Mason Miller, Richard fucking Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley, Slap in Your Face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Paris, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder Cougar, Falcon Scoop, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, A Sunny Boy, Slurpy Kai, Motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma Kane, Alina, Cody DeLorean Guy, Brady Malachik, Gabriel Adame, and Polygon.
Sorry, I was still
If you'd like to hear this episode
around with
uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't you?
enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy and thank you for feeding the horsies.
Wow.
That's all the time that we got for this week's session. I want to thank our landlords, Matt and Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. And remember, Pod Therapy isn't something to keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world and tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and Blue Sky. It's Pod Therapy on Facebook. And don't forget about all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? You can ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com or click the link in the episode description to be taken to our anonymous Google form. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm looking forward to those horse videos.
Thanks, and I'll see you for your appointment next week.
Nay.
Horse videos and dick pics.
Yep. Or the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're both boy horses.
Horse
so.
dick pics. If you have like a really long,
That'll cost extra.
If you have like a really long letter you need to write, you could use a horse dick.
If you feed the horse multiple times, at some point Emma will just let that camera slide a little bit.
Yeah, I think she will.
It'll fall on the ground accidentally. You'll get what you're looking for, is what I'm trying to say. Patreon.com/therapy.
OnlyFans.
Feed the horses. Only horses.
Only horses.
Bye.